Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. So good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo. Tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Senator, Pagoda, Grinder, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some cognac, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 99th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a New World cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We explore a budget Lancero, we read some listener email about our cognac journey, and we have our first ever serious breach and ratings protocol, all among a variety of other things for the next 2 hours. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Hennessy VSOP with the Oliva Serie V in Lancero. The Nicaraguan Lancero tonight from Oliva. It's the Serie V Lancero. It's a 38 ring gauge cigar, of course, by 7 inches. And guys, this smells incredible.
The wrapper smells amazing.
It smells amazing. It looks amazing.
It smells so rich, you know?
Yeah,
it does.
It smells so Nicaraguan.
It does, but there's a sweetness to it too.
Yeah.
That's
Like a floral sweetness.
Raisin.
Right?
Yeah, raisin's a good
Just
call
on the
out.
wrapper.
Mm-hmm. But it's so beautifully made.
Yeah, this is a very nice looking and smelling cigar.
Yeah, sharp.
Looking forward to smoking it tonight. Let's cut this thing, boys. So we're getting on the cold draw. We've done a lot of Lanceros on the pod, the Lonsdales, and we are back tonight after doing a lot of bigger ring gauge stuff
Honestly,
over the past few months.
getting raisin on the cold draw for me. Right?
The cold draw
Agreed.
is really nice.
It's very good.
Really, really nice.
Like a currant type thing.
I'm getting dried apricot.
Yeah, this is really good. I can't wait. Let's light this thing, boys. The Oliva V Lancero. Again, it's a 38 ring gauge cigar by 7 inches long.
I am excited to smoke this.
I'm very much more cognizant of my cut recently because I sent a picture to the lizard chat.
Oh, yeah. You should have seen it.
I think I was smoking a Raz or a QD or something. It was a QD. And immediately,
I thought it was. I think it was a D4.
It was a D4.
oh, it was a D4. And immediately, everyone on the chat started aggressively lambasting my Gizmo cut and how I've regressed.
I think we should change the name of the Gizmo cut to the Grinder cut after that photo.
No.
I don't know.
This is
I was summarily dismissed.
That's a no. We'll get
As
back,
it always is.
We'll get back to the cup, but this is so good off the light.
Yeah, this is
It
great.
is tremendous.
It's very rich.
I'm getting goosebumps.
I gotta say, I'm shocked. I mean, first, just looking at the cigar, this is the best looking Oliva I've seen. Period.
Yeah.
The wrapper, the roll. I mean, it looks flawless. And
The
beautiful.
seams are like completely invisible.
Yeah.
Opposite to that Churchill that we've smoked.
Yeah, that was a little, I don't want to use the
more-
word rustic. It was a little more rough
Yeah.
than this is.
And the flavor on the light. Wow.
Yeah. And I love the wrapper is dark and oily. Like,
It's beautiful.
obviously it's a sun-grown Nicaraguan wrapper on this, but man, it is so nice. And the thing that I love about this line, and we experienced this with the Churchill, is for a Nicaraguan Puro, how smooth the delivery of the flavor is. Like, it's not kicking you around. So many Nicaraguan manufacturers want to punch you in the face on the light, and Oliva doesn't do that. And I'm very grateful.
This is really good.
I
I am, you know what it is? I'm going to have a hard time smoking this at a mannered pace.
I was just going to
wanna
say
go
the same
through this
thing.
thing.
The problem is, Bam, smoking this at a faster pace or even just a fairly average moderate pace,
Yeah. It'll
you
get hot.
get this kind of stuff happening.
Yeah,
you know,
and
with
I'm
the
getting
Lancero.
that.
You get uneven burn. And the
Yeah.
most important thing,
That's
know,
right.
to Grinders joking about the cut, the thing that's important, we talked about this with Lanceros, and I've actually had some listeners emailing us asking for clarification. We've talked about when you cut a Lancero, sometimes if you don't cut enough off, or if you're a smoker who puts a lot of saliva on the head of the cigar and you're pulling a lot, you're going to really set yourself up for a nasty tar blast, which if you cut it again, which I'll often do, I might even do that on this tonight. I often do that with a Lancero, just a second small cut, open it up a little more, get the saliva out of there, put you in a better position and not
This
get
is-
the
it's very
blasted with
open.
tar. Yeah,
draw
very
issues,
open.
very open.
Yeah.
There's a piece of my heart that dies every time I see some joker slobber all over a stick. And
I
just
agree.
totally ruin it.
I'm sorry.
There's some sort of joke there that I'm constructing in my
never.
head, and I'm not going to do it.
I
I'm not
hadn't
going to do
intended
it,
it
Rooster.
to go there, but Rooster.
I'm not going to do it,
Rooster
Rooster.
took that leap.
Never you, Rooster. Never.
So, boys, what kind of notes are you getting on this thing? Because I'm getting a lot. I'm getting that dried fruit. I'm getting espresso. I'm getting dark chocolate.
That's it. You got it all. We're
It's
done.
really, really.
Let's
All
rate.
right, boys. We'll see you next week. Now, this is really something.
Yeah. The raisin and currant, and you mentioned apricot. That's pretty accurate, I think.
Does this come in a 50 cab? Because I
know.
want.
It does come in a cabinet. It does come in an SLB.
It does?
Like, well, it's not like a
Cabinet of 36.
yeah, kind of.
Why 36?
This comes in 36
Yeah.
count.
I'm going to order a box.
It looks
you-
nice too.
Can you
It's
please
nice.
procure a box for me,
I'm
please?
getting a box.
I have
Me-
two at
me,
home.
Me too.
me, please.
All right. All right. It's
I was
just a
so
joke.
excited when you told me you were doing this today. I was like, I smoke these fairly frequently.
Oh, you
Yeah.
do?
I have 2 boxes at home.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
How do you think
Wow.
I brought this the last time we'd had a Lancero night at the former lounge.
That was a great night back in the day.
How come this didn't get a high rating? I mean, we
So
chose another one over this.
Well, yeah, actually, was it from? No. I could.
We
Are
had
you
the
sure
Herrera.
we got that from you, or did? Because I thought we just had to buy all the
We
stuff
got it
downstairs.
from the lounge.
We bought it downstairs.
Because honestly, this cigar, the way this is smoking, is unrecognizable to what we smoked that night. And I don't think your humidors ever run high.
No.
And I think that night we bought all. I think what we did is we had this Lancero idea very last minute. We went downstairs in the humidor and we basically bought every Lancero that we
Yeah.
could. And I think that these were wet down there
Oh,
because
yeah.
I remember the flavor. We were complaining that there wasn't enough flavor in this cigar. And we picked some Drew Estate Lancero we had that had more flavor.
Mhm.
So I think it just wasn't kept
think
properly,
he's
where
right.
this is like a game changer.
We had the
Sam-
Herrera Esteli.
Yeah,
We
that's
did
right.
that.
Didn't we do
did
the Sam
Oliva
Parai?
We
V.
did the
That's
No,
no?
no.
Drew
There
Estate.
was another that Drew Estate. We
Yeah.
did 3.
the
Yeah.
other Drew Estate, the 2 Drew Estates.
This is
and
really good. This is out
Yeah.
of your cabinet.
no. This is good. Sorry.
So I got this out of the humidor here at 1086.
Just say yes.
Probably about 5 or 6 months ago, and it's been in my tower at like 64% since that time. So it's been in my tower, for about 6 months.
I have to say, I'm just really glad
Very
we're doing
nice.
this because that night, that Lancero night, really kind of ruined this cigar for me. I've never
Mhm.
smoked it since, and I just thought it's not a great cigar. Totally changed my perspective.
And
on it.
I think that what we were talking about earlier, with the cut and getting that tar blast, and I think the same thing with the size of the cigar to overall humidity. I think a cigar like this over humidified is really going to give you a bad experience.
I strongly recommend you lizards to do a very gentle retrohale
Not just
and let
that.
it just roll out
Before
It's-
you do the retro, I have a recommendation.
Okay, what?
Get your nose to the burn line. It is heavenly.
It's very good.
It's
Yeah.
very nice.
It's unique, honestly.
So what's interesting, so what I did actually before Bam mentioned that, I took a sniff at the burn line. I took a normal draw and then I pushed it out through the nose in the retrohale. All 3 are really, really talking to each other.
Mm.
Yeah, and on the retro, so it's the similar note that I get on the burn line, which is this unusual fruity cocoa type thing. I'm getting more of a pronounced experience in the retro hell.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's like Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Puffs all in one.
You know what?
Bam Bam. Bam Bam.
You laugh. I loved those 2 when I was a kid. I grew up on that cereal.
That's why you're named Bam Bam,
Okay.
among other reasons.
So we smoked another cigar recently where some of the lizards were commenting on different, not a full flavor in the mouthfeel, and the finish, and this is a full
Opposite of that.
mouth experience. I'll tell you what.
Would you guys say this? Where would you say this lies on the strength category? I would say it's firmly medium.
Firmly
Medium, yeah.
I don't think it's reaching full for me yet.
I think it's on the fuller side of medium if there's a medium range, but it's still
It's in
still
between a medium and a full.
Yeah,
to
and
me.
let's distinguish. So the flavor
Flavor.
separate from the body of it, I find the flavor is on the fuller side, but the body of it, the strength of it is medium.
I would say it's medium plus as opposed to full minus.
I like medium plus. I like that.
Well, I would say, sorry, for most sites that review, they'll say medium, medium full, and full.
Thank you.
So I think if we're saying in between, just to maybe be a little consistent, medium
Medium full.
full would be probably where
You
we're
don't need
getting
to.
at.
I think he's right that you don't need to apologize for that. I think that's a very standard. I just totally forgot about that.
Medium plus.
Totally.
We're forging our own
Are
path.
you shopping for clothes?
We're grilling
Medium plus.
We're grilling steak right now.
I'm gonna go to Kohl's and get a medium plus.
This is really good, man. Now, here's the best part about this cigar for me is it's $10.
Dude.
It's a steal.
Really?
This is a $10 delicious Lancero. Shocking.
I don't know what to say right now.
I will say one thing because I owe Gizmo an apology.
Thank you.
We've done
Regardless of what it is, just a sorry. It's over.
You know what? You can stop there. Thank you.
That's right. You don't need to say anything anymore.
It's like, I'll take it.
Let's let that sit a little bit.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
but
go ahead.
Okay, continue.
I say this because we've done a lot of Lanceros on the pod, and I've given Gizmo some shit. I'm like, how many more Lanceros are we going to do? But
No. That's not what you said. You said, if I have to look at another Lancero on this podcast, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah,
I think it was something like
that's
that.
probably more accurate. But I say that because this right now is a revelation for me that I think my conclusion already is that some of the best value cigars New World happen to be Lanceros.
Totally agree.
I just say that because like we've done the Don Pepin Garcia Lancero.
Mhm.
That's like a $10 stick, and I still smoke
Delicious.
that to this day since we did on the pod, and Rooster gave me my first of those. We did the
My Father.
number
Number
4.
Yep.
Guys like that, also under $10. This is under $10. I mean, there are like a lot of the other New Worlds that we do. We do an Ashton that's like 15, right? There's not that many that are under 10 that deliver a really, really satisfying experience. And for me, it's all coming together that like Lancero's where the value's at.
I
Don't
agree.
forget the warped.
yeah.
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 Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a
Now,
Lonsdale.
That was a Lonsdale.
Lonsdale. Very close. I mean,
It's
close.
similar.
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 It's true.
Yeah.
Similar.
But, at this ring gauge, here's my problem with when I walk into a humidor and I'm uninitiated on a cigar. When I look at a $10 cigar that's a Lancero, the first thing that goes into my head is there's likely going to be construction issues in this cigar.
Wow.
Because Lanceros are, it's a lot of tobacco in a very small ring gauge, notoriously hard to roll.
Not in a New World.
But the
That's
New
the
World,
thing.
it has
Not
been a
in the New
revelation, is
World.
my point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having not done these on the pod, I never would walk in and reach for a Lancero I didn't know
Right.
because I would just assume the worst. But we've learned that these New World manufacturers are killing it.
You smoke way
Yeah.
too many Cohiba Lanceros.
That's true.
No, but it really just it makes you even more frustrated with kind of Cuban Lanceros. And I just say that because, like, to Gizmo's point, I had not had many New World Lanceros until we started doing these on the pod. And obviously, we've had a number of fundies. I have those in my tower.
That's the
um,
Trinidad Fundadores
that-
for
That's
the
right.
listener.
We've obviously smoked the Cohiba Lancero, and I'm just used to having draw issues with them. So, like Gizmo's saying, I really always expected. In my mind, it was the Lancero's one of the hardest things to roll, and so I just expect problems. And I'm realizing, like Gizmo, these New World manufacturers have clearly figured out how to consistently make Lanceros great. We don't have to worry about draw issues with these.
I mean, in general, when was the last time you had a draw issue with a New World? It's rare.
It's rare.
It's true.
Honestly,
very,
very
rare.
rare.
The only
Doesn't
one that
happen.
I've had on the podcast, I think Senator mentioned this, was the My Father number 4 Lancero. I have had some draw issues with that cigar
Not
after
me.
we smoked it on the pod, but nothing that was not fixable.
But it's
with
rare.
a perfect draw.
I'm saying like New World in general.
It's
Yeah,
very
you're
rare.
right.
not just
He's right.
Lanceros.
You're right.
He's right.
Any
That's true.
Vitola.
You're right.
You don't have
Exactly-
draw
exactly
issues.
right.
Yeah.
And I think also the tobacco outside of Cuba is just less prone to having issues when there's more moisture present,
Mhm.
which is obviously why we like to smoke them at lower
Well,
humidity,
because-
get the moisture out.
Because
But
Cuba doesn't age tobacco.
Yeah,
New
and
World
there's-
tobacco is aged, so it's already losing moisture, and then they're rolling it. So Cuba is
Yeah.
rolling wet leaves.
Yep.
They're not really aging the leaves as much.
and there's a
So
quality
hence
control issue too,
quality
right?
control,
Yeah.
which has gotten better, but
Yeah.
But the point is, if you're going to spend like $40-$50 for a Cuban Lancero, and out of a box of 25, you're going to have like 5, 6, like 20%
10.
of them being clogged. I mean, that's
Yeah.
unacceptable.
It's crazy.
So on a $10 Lancero, even if there's like a couple that are plugged, you don't feel so bad.
That's
and
true.
and it's so rare that they're never plugged.
Yeah.
The other thing I have to say about this, the combustion is incredible.
The smoke output is brilliant.
For this small of a ring gauge, amazing.
Oh yeah. You know, I would think a lot of novice cigar smokers that are just getting into the hobby of smoking would probably shy away from a Lancero or a Lonsdale because they look at it, it's thinner. They probably assume they're not going to get a full experience. I urge every initial guy or girl that hasn't had a cigar, try this cigar. So
I would
far,
say start out with the Lancero.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I
Or a
did.
Lonsdale or
Yeah,
Lancero.
most
Petite
people,
Coronas, small ring
yeah,
gauges.
most people would stay away from that because they want the fuller cigar, they want a fuller experience. They're missing out on this.
And I think this just feels so good in the hand.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we've had that conversation so many
Delicate.
times, but I mean, the look of this, the band is really complex and I think very complimentary to the cigar. Like, that's a sharp looking band.
you could be a hand model.
You know, Bam, I'm going to look into that.
I think you should.
A cigar hand model. But, you know, the band is really ornate. It's quite large, actually. It's one piece, but, you know, it just looks and feels really good in the hand. Like you can hold it like a pencil, you know?
Yep.
I know. I feel
really
so
like it.
productive when I'm holding this. It's like
You
I'm,
can give
I'm
a-
smoking. I want to sign my name in ash with this
You
thing.
could do like a PowerPoint presentation with this.
Yeah, and we've typically rated Lanceros very high overall. I think
Yeah.
when it comes to
They have been good.
They have been.
Yeah, this is quite a revelation. So Oliva has a really interesting family history. They're obviously, you know, they're a big corporate entity now. They were acquired but they were, you know, they were founded by Melania Oliva, who cultivated his first tobacco crop, of course, in Pinar del Rio, Cuba in 1886. And then in the early 1920s, his son, Facundo Oliva, took over the growing operations. He cultivated the family tobacco fields for several decades. And then, of course, as Cuba became overrun by the communist revolution, everything changed. And then they went to Honduras, then Panama, then Mexico, the Philippines, and then Gilberto Oliva found fertile ground in Nicaragua. And Gilberto, along with his family, are Nicaraguan's second largest grower of Cuban seed tobacco. So long history there for the family. And this specific cigar was ranked number 6 on Cigar Aficionado's ranking in 2019.
Deservedly so.
Who's the biggest grower?
Padron?
I'm not sure.
Fuentes.
In
In
Nicaragua,
Nicaragua, no.
Nicaragua might be
in
Rocky
Nicaragua.
Patel or I'm
No,
not sure.
it wouldn't be Patel. It would probably be AJ.
I bet it's AJ
Oh
Fernandez.
yeah.
That's a good point. But yeah, this is really performing well. We did okay with the Churchill when we did this. We had some folks request this
Mhm.
in our Lancero block because I think out of all the Lanceros we've done, New World Lanceros, this is one you can probably walk into most humidors and find.
Yeah.
You know, the Oliva V line is available everywhere. You see it. I don't know a humidor I've been in that I don't see Oliva.
Mm-hmm.
That's because some prefer to only smoke Oliva.
That's true.
That's true.
We've met them.
we've met
Uh-huh.
them for sure.
The Churchill is very popular.
Very
It is.
popular. But I actually had a few listeners ask us to do this when we were doing the block because they said this was the only Lancero that they've ever had out of their local brick and mortar humidor.
Great recommend.
And man, this is
Dude.
delivering.
These guys win cigar, like they're in the top, granted, the rankings are dubious considering the investment that is considered to be part of these rankings. But they're always very highly ranked. Some of those cigars, I think one of their cigars, the Robusto, what is it? It's like a thick Robusto.
The Melania?
No, they had a little Torpedo that ranked very highly. It's like a 97 point cigar.
The Melania is excellent.
Yeah, the Melania. They have a few different lines.
Yeah.
They have the Serie V as we're doing now. They have the Series V in Maduro. They have the Serie O, the Serie G, which is very popular.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Connecticut Reserve. They have Master Blends.
Oh boy.
They have Flor de Oliva, and then they have Gilberto Oliva, obviously the namesake of their founder.
You can find this cigar, I just looked it up, for $260 for 36 sticks.
Wow.
I mean,
That equates to $7.25.
that's crazy.
Insane value for what we're getting right now. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is pretty
And where was that?
remarkable.
Atlantic?
No, some other side.
Right.
Amazing.
This is really good. I would definitely say it's leaning more full now, as I'm coming out of that first inch and a half. But very, very smooth and pleasant.
Incredibly smooth and pleasant.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it was the torpedo I was referencing. That one, I think it won Cigar of the Year or something.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to look at their top rated cigars.
They are rated pretty high.
Yeah.
I remember the Melanio was rated high.
That was rated high.
Yeah, Milano.
I like that
Yeah.
cigar.
I think that's an overrated cigar.
I think
I'm
it's
sorry.
overrated, but I do like it.
It's nice.
I just say that because when I didn't have that much exposure to Oliva, I think I first had the Melanio, and I thought it was a good to decent smoke.
The Maduro.
No, I think it was the regular one.
The Maduro is the one you want, I think, for me.
Interesting.
There's only one, I think. Is it?
Yeah, I
Is it
thought
other
there's
two?
one.
No.
Really?
Aren't
The
there?
beautiful
No,
cigars,
there's
like,
two. There are two.
Okay.
The regular
there?
Melanio, and then there's a Melanio
The
Maduro.
regular
I didn't know
Melanio
that.
is like this color.
Yes, the Maduro, of course, is darker. It's very tasty.
But
Is it?
once
Yeah.
I had, I mean, honestly, it was when we did the V Churchill.
I
I thought that's much better. And having I think the regular V line wipes the floor with the Melanio.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the Churchill, I think, when we did it. I don't know
Yeah.
what we rated it,
It's
but
fuller.
I think it was
Yeah.
in the 8s, if I remember correctly. No?
The Melanio to me, it's so much barnyard. I remember getting out of that cigar where I like this standard V line profile much more.
I gravitate to Barnard from time to time. I kind of like that funky.
You
I
know,
think
Wow.
I think the Melanio line, just for comparison's sake, I think the Melanio line is aged quite a bit more. I think it's 5 years at least
Really?
aged tobacco. So I think that they're softening the experience a little
Where are
bit.
they aging it in a barn? I mean, I just don't know. Like, it doesn't taste that
A
much
Nicaraguan
smoother.
barn.
In a butcher shop.
You know, this cigar is so good that I'm almost considering like buying another tower and just filling it up with boxes and boxes
Bro.
of sub $10 Lanceros and Lonsdales
So,
and
is
just
the
let them
new world.
age. Just
Is it
welcome to
crazy?
the new world. Welcome.
Just age them. Age them even longer.
By the way, to hear Rooster say that
I was
is,
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a bigger compliment for this cigar right now. No, I'm not even being
No, this is
facetious
not
or
a
trying to be
joke.
funny.
It's not a joke.
To
Yeah.
hear
it's
to
serious.
hear Rooster say that, who is probably more than any of us so far down the rabbit hole, on
Connoisseur
age
corner.
stuff, the connoisseur corner. All jokes aside, to hear that kind of compliment on a cigar like this, I mean, it really validates the value and flavor in this cigar.
Gizmo. Just say it, Rooster. You've changed.
You've changed.
That's the standard Gizmo line. I teach
Evolved.
you.
You've changed.
But,
But
is
usually,
it-
I mean that in a negative way. This is, I'm very happy for him. I
but
mean,
isn't it true? Don't you agree?
It is.
I
It's-
agree.
It's worth doing that.
Rooster, I would do this back to back tonight if you gave me another one. No problem. It is just so. It's
I
a
would give you one. I don't have
I
it.
know.
yeah,
Delicious experience.
yeah. This
And then
is
I'm sure
really,
you'd
really
say you like
elegant.
that.
Yeah. Well, you got to use the voice.
You like that?
That's
Yeah.
Giving the people what they want. Yeah, this is really, really elegant.
I'm going over to Grinder's house tomorrow and picking some up.
They'll
He's
sell
got
them for
two boxes.
$17 each.
I'll ride them over my bike. Can we
E-bike.
e-bike? Can we try some spirits with this? Maybe.
Yeah, so we're back on the cognac train, boys. Tonight we have the
Well,
Hennessy,
I want to
very special old pale, the
Yep.
VSOP tonight.
I want to give a shout out to Lizard John, the owner of our club here, 1086 in Hawthorne. Johnny, we're having cognac tonight.
With, by the way, this fantastic cigar out of his humidor,
This is out of his humidor.
out of the 1086 humidor.
Johnny,
And happy birthday, John.
happy birthday,
yeah,
John.
that's
Happy
right.
birthday. Yeah.
John's birthday was yesterday.
You're coming through big for us, boy.
John's an avid listener, so I'm sure he'll get these messages.
Yeah, he loves it.
John, we love you.
All right, boys, let's try the Hennessy, very special old pale, VSOP tonight. I think this is the second Hennessy we've done, if I'm not wrong. Oh, wow. Okay,
Hello.
we're in for a good night, boys.
On the nose, before it gets to your palate, it is fantastic. And once you take down, it's like nectar. It's amazing.
That's really, really
It's
good.
so damn good.
It's like honey.
Mm.
It's like honey.
The pairing with the flavor profile of this cigar is perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah, it's very complimentary, and neither is like vying for attention. They're
No.
very, very much in the same lane, I think, as Flair's flavor
I think you
profile.
could also do a rum with this
I agree.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
because it's a full-bodied smoke.
How much is this bottle? Do we know?
You looking at me? Are you looking at me?
You,
He's just always staring at you. I noticed that.
Oh, you're right in my sight lines.
I thought you'd say what you look at. What you looking at?
So we've done the Hennessy XO. We've done so many different cognacs on the pod. And this is the first time I'm actually trying the VSOP. This is an excellent VSOP, guys.
Yeah, so I have to give a shout out to one of our lounge members, Jay, who
Lizard Jay.
really put
Lizard
us
Jay,
onto
man.
this.
My man.
I mean, the funny thing is, I think our minds were really blown when we did the Hennessy XO.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was a good one.
And the Hennessy VSOP is like really the kind of standard like club drink almost. Like when you see people get like a bottle of Hennessy, like it's the VS or the VSOP.
Right.
And so there's always been, I won't lie, like this little stigma for me of
Well,
like, well, that's not for a serious night.
It's
That's
in many
for,
rap
like-
songs.
Right.
Right.
That's the thing. I mean, Nas is their brand ambassador, truly,
Yeah.
like the ambassador for Hennessy. And so I just never took it seriously, the VSOP, because I just associate with like a night out clubbing, not a serious, like, I just want to relax, have a fine spirit, a nice cigar. And Bam and I were at the club the other night, and Jay had a bottle of this, and neither of us had ever tried it. And I mean, it was so funny because we had one glass and we were like, wow, this is really good. Next thing you know,
The bottle was gone.
He had to leave. He just left the bottle and we just killed it. He was like, just enjoy. But we really, really took to this. And with this cigar right now, I mean, man, I'm very happy.
Do we know the price?
Yeah, it's like 60, 65 a bottle, which is roughly in line with most VSOPs.
Bro, that's worth every
I'm
dollar.
trying to find my receipt in my email, but it's not coming up. I think I paid I got it delivered, so I think I paid a little more, like
Okay.
$73.
Wow, it's still a great
But-
value.
But
That's a
that
great-
that
great
included
VSOP.
the delivery.
Yeah.
Right.
the color is rich and beautiful.
It is. It's a very, very dark.
Deep color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
It's a viscous spirit for VSOP too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, it's a very rich experience in the mouth. You know, I love how a cognac, a good cognac, coats your mouth and really complements the draw. You know, when you take a draw of your cigar, you take a sip of the cognac. When those are working together, it's
Yeah.
such an elegant experience for me.
Agree.
What a learning experience this pod's been for all of us regarding the cognac experience. Senator, your dad was a big cognac and cigar guy. You learned from him. We all learned. You can't beat a cognac and a cigar. You just can't.
Yeah, you really
You
can't.
can't.
I mean,
You can't.
it's one of the most surprising revelations. I never
amazing.
understood. I'm like, why do people drink cognac? And it took a sip of Remy Martin with my dad that I started to, okay, I kind of see why this is a thing. And now we've really gone down the rabbit hole, and I'm never turning back.
Speaking of the cognac rabbit hole, I want to mention this.
Cognac.
I'm going to cut that clip and just drop. I'm going to get like a button I can
That's a
drop.
soundbite.
I'm going to drop that sound.
No, I love that. I love that. By the way.
So I think Max from Australia, New South Wales, was probably Lizard Max is probably one of our first listeners that ever emailed us. 2 years ago. You know, next week is episode 100. We're coming up on 100 episodes. Like Lizard Max from Australia is one of the first listeners that ever emailed us, and he
Cheers,
sent us an email last week and said, "Cognac Trail, gents, good to hear that the cognac rabbit hole we went down a long time ago is working well. Forget brandy, the Armagnac Trail is amazing. Glad all is sounding well, and I love the longer play episodes. By the way, what's with the white underwear on the Lizard merch store? Keep up the good work, and please keep my seat warm."
Max, lizards are sexy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's a question for Bam.
There's no way around it.
By the way, I sent him that the only reason that I put those lizard underwear in the merch store was just simply to write on it that Bam Bam had ordered several pairs for himself.
Bam Bam approved.
Yeah,
yes.
that's the tagline on the
yeah.
on the,
He's
on the
old
merch
school.
store.
Tidy whities go a long way.
But always good to hear from a listener, and hear from one of the OG listener, Max, who's been listening for 2 years now.
That's
Incredible.
awesome. That's amazing.
Incredible. Wow. Yeah, this is really a wonderful pairing. Wow.
It's a rich experience through and through.
Yeah, this is how it should always be.
Thank you, Pagoda.
We have it so hard sometimes when cigars aren't, when cigars are sevens. I don't know how we do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we sit around and smoke cigars and drink scotch.
we
and
have
cognac.
no
It's
reason
a
to
tough
complain.
life.
It's not too bad.
We've all got to make sacrifices.
All right, so we have another email. This one's a little more critical from
Uh-oh.
Lizard Raz. First of all, congratulations for the show. One of the few, if not the only one, who is discussing with objectivity Cuban cigars. I've listened to all the episodes and wish you a long existence on the cigar podcast scene. I was like, uh-oh, what's he setting us up for here, Lizard Raz? Now, I'm writing to you after your request for Brandy's recommendations. I must say, I was really horrified about your taste in cognac. The 4 major cognac houses, especially for their younger expressions, VS and VSOP, are using sugar, a ton of caramel, E150, and Boise, which I didn't know what that was. It's boiling oak chips in cognac over and over again to produce a dark, syrupy liquid in order to sweeten the final product and to give it a darker hue, giving it the illusion of an aged cognac. I'll give you some suggestions of good cognacs made by smaller producers. Like in the Champagne region in cognac, the small producers make the wine and then they sell a big chunk of their liquid to the major houses, but keep for themselves 15 to 20% of their production to age and sell on their own. So he sent me a whole list of stuff to do, but I found that to be...
What are some of these brands?
So some of the revelations, La Roque XO, Raymond Desi XO Cognac, Raymond Ragnaud, I can't pronounce French, you know this, Ors de Aja.
Oh.
You know, you asked...
Keep going.
Horse dash.
Landier XO Artisanal Cognac. And then he also sent, I mean, this is quite an amazing, extensive email. He also sent some Armagnacs as well. So we'll have to get some of these. But
absolutely.
The key is going to be our ability to find that.
That's exactly
the problem.
Right. That's right.
So he's overseas. Lizard Raz is overseas. So, you know, we'll see if we can get some of this stuff. I'm going to try to procure it for us. But emails from Lizard Max and Lizard Raz and so many other listeners who've emailed us with cognac recommendations, reviews. Thanks for recommending this. Like, we love hearing from the listeners on this. It's amazing. And to me, anything that's going to open our eyes to greater spirits and helping us continue down, as Lizard Max said, the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's fantastic.
It's the most exciting part of this whole thing that we're doing is the open communication with listeners. There's just no doubt about
because we're a medium, right?
Yeah.
He's educating us and we'll educate the rest of the listeners.
Exactly.
And so he's essentially educating the rest of the listeners, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not experts. We're just, you know, on the journey
We're
with
a conduit.
you. Yeah, we're with the listeners here on a journey.
We need to copy paste Lizard Ricky for every spirit. Just give us the 101.
Exactly. So, you know, having said that, knowing that we were doing Hennessy VSOP tonight, it made me think, like, I wonder how much of this experience is colored by some of those things that Lizard Raz mentioned. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see.
Yeah.
So we're, you know, our promise to all the listeners out there, we're going to obviously we're enjoying this. So we're going to continue down these rabbit holes.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, speaking of Chef Ricky, I should mention it. I spoke to him last week. We're going to be putting a date on the calendar for the Mezcal deep dive.
We're having him back?
Artisanal Mezcal.
My man.
Yeah, Lizard Chef Ricky's going to come on, and
It's awesome.
we're going to do a Mezcal deep dive.
Fantastic.
So very, very cool. So we love hearing from listeners. So please do reach out. Tell us what you're smoking, what you want us to smoke, and of course, what you think of our pairings and what you want us to drink.
I can't control myself from smoking right through this cigar because it's so good.
Pagoda, slow down with that cigar.
No, it's good.
Well,
It's
He's
so
taking
good.
the band off already.
Jesus.
It's too good to stop.
He's almost done.
Pagoda.
I just read this is a 90-minute smoke.
90 minutes. Not in his world.
I'm not abuelo.
Abuelo.
It is. This is you gotta smoke this slow.
I know, I've been trying.
It's too good though, isn't it?
You are on fire.
So it's like you keep holding your cigar. You're like, when am I going to take the next one? You know, I'm enjoying it. Hey,
Yeah.
Patience, my lad.
Yes, sir.
patience.
So, boys, what are you thinking about the Oliva V, man? I mean, this is really, really, really good.
It's hard not to go through it. It's so good.
And I think the consensus is everyone's enjoying it. You can just feel it in the room.
It is a bold smoke, though.
Not too bold though.
No.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit more spice now in the second
Spice,
third.
yeah.
It's a little more on the front of my tongue. I'm getting a little more oomph to it, but it's very pleasant.
I feel that I would guess this is on the higher end of the nicotine scale.
Yeah.
Just from how I'm feeling. I'm feeling a little good, a little amped up.
Getting high.
Oh, nicotine does that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
an upper.
and it's really good for you.
actually, it is. It is.
We're gonna have an FDA strike
I
on
was
this
about
episode.
to say that.
Dr. Pagoda.
No, he's
This is one Indian which has got nothing to do with medicine or technology. I don't know what the hell.
there's
got the wrong genes.
there's a celebrity doctor on on various channels, media channels.
Sanjay Gupta.
It's not Sanjay. It's Dr. Attia, Attia, and he this guy chews nicotine gum on a regular basis and is a proponent of it, and is telling people like because of all the positive health benefits nicotine can have on yours.
We need to get this guy on the pod.
No.
I am very, very happy. I wanted to ask you a question about the
I don't know
cognac.
what to say.
The cognac VSOP. I'm getting a touch of like a licorice type flavor on that. Are you guys getting that? Call it anise or I'm kind of getting that black licorice, a little bit of it. Am I crazy?
No, I'm not getting that.
So I think
I'm sipping water.
if you were to, I kind of is my answer. If you do, like there's just different taste buds in your mouth. The back part of your mouth, whether it's like the sour side, I kind of get it when I bring it to the back of my mouth and let it coat the back of my tongue. That's when I feel it really envelop me, and that's when I get a very more kind of punctuated taste that you're describing.
I don't think you're crazy. I get a little bit of it, but it's not very pronounced because I don't really love a licorice flavor. I think it's just in the background.
That's the important thing about it for me is I don't love the flavor of licorice or anise, but the way that this is being delivered, it's perfectly complementing the cigar. Like it's totally fine for me, but it is very present. Like I'm noticing it, as I sip it. And I think the cigar is working well with it too. I think, the flavor of this Nicaraguan tobacco with the profile of this VSOP, it's really working.
I think someone said it earlier. The pairing is just fantastic. Very rich, delicious experience. Through and through.
I so hope that guy was wrong about these.
Lizard Raz.
I'm gonna ignore that for a moment and enjoy my. I'm gonna enjoy my.
No.
Cognac.
Where that lizard is correct. All cognacs have some added sugar. I mean, brandies, it's to an extreme. That's why I don't like brandy.
Right.
And technically, all cognacs are brandies, but I mean just straight brandy, not from the cognac region.
Mm-hmm.
So there's sugar in all of them. There's no dispute there. And the better stuff definitely has less added sugar than the cheaper stuff. There's no question. If you look at VSOPs, I guarantee it's the high sugar content than VS than VSOP, and the XOs, it's like very little residual sugar they add. But like what people also should understand, I mean, even wines have some residual sugar that are often added. So, it's a delicate balance. And I think like the brands that deserve criticism are the ones that take it to such an extreme that like you take a sip of it and you just feel like you're having candy. Yeah. I mean, that's obviously not reflective of the spirit at all.
Yeah.
But
also doesn't work what we're doing. It doesn't work for what we're doing tonight with this cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
You have a sugar blast. It just doesn't work for me.
Agreed.
This is very disappointing, by the way. Because I mean, on Instagram you have these guys now who do all these sugar spikes with a lot of different, alcohol, and they'll try a lot of different things, and they tell you how much your glucose level's gone up,
what is your Instagram algorithm feeding you?
Remember, he's Dr. Pagoda.
Yes,
You're down some sugar
He's
spike.
deep in the medical community.
So now I'm going to tell you something. With whiskey, your blood sugar levels don't spike as high.
Well, that's because there's a lot less added sugar there.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why if you look at the calorie content of like any cognac versus a whiskey's got like half the calories.
That's true.
Really?
Yeah.
And red wine. I was
Same.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey, listen, I got to continue these habits,
Dr. Pagoda?
It's good for you.
Just like the nicotine.
I'd like to do more Armagnacs. We've only done one.
Yeah, we need to do
Yeah,
more.
we need to do more.
And I don't really understand. I don't have clarity on the difference between an Armagnac and a cognac and a brandy. And I'd be curious to know what the profiles are. If there are less or more additives in an Armagnac than there is in a cognac.
I mean, I think they're all brandies.
Okay.
But the difference is that cognacs are brandies from the Cognac region and Armagnac from the Armagnac region.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Everything
That's
in
clear.
France is region based,
Right.
just like
That's
the
right.
wines,
Right.
they're named after the
Interesting.
region.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
that's
right.
why, like in France, like we say Sauvignon Blanc for French people, they drink Sancerre. That's
Mm.
a Sauvignon Blanc that's from the Sancerre region.
Right.
Right. That Armagnac was spectacular that night. So good.
So, boys, an interesting news story coming out of Tampa the last few weeks. I don't know if you guys saw this. I think, Senator, you sent this around maybe. You put this on the chat. But J.C. Newman at their Tampa headquarters unveiled cigars that they purchased from auction that are 134 years old that were salvaged from a wreckage at the bottom of the Atlantic.
Were they on the Titanic?
Well, no.
Well, it took
But close.
it took billionaires to get in a submarine and almost and to kill themselves just to retrieve these cigars. I'm joking. Thankfully, it did not.
Thank God.
But no, it's a crazy story. I mean, they're saying these are like some of the oldest cigars that like you can basically see that somehow have been preserved.
Wow.
How these still exist being down the ocean is beyond me.
They must have been in a great like Tupperware or something,
Yeah.
like a Rubbermaid
A Gizmo approved Tupperware.
Well, they would
in
have to,
1830s.
but technically though, they would have to be in like a zero oxygen environment for them to stay preserved over such a long period of time.
Yeah.
Oxygen oxidizes.
So it was on the SS Central America.
Yeah, the story is actually pretty cool.
Crazy.
Just when you hear about it. So it says in 1857, the SS Central. What is going on?
I have no idea.
What
Go ahead.
happened?
No, it's just a tidbit from Bam. It was very intellectual.
I don't know.
Pagoda looks at me and just goes,
Oxygen oxidizes. That is
boy.
fantastic.
You need to mute their mics right now.
Oh, man, yeah.
all right, there's the sugar in our cognac.
And
Hard at work.
the nicotine.
And the nicotine.
You are all high right now.
Go ahead,
So I
Senator.
was going to say, no, there's just a really, a pretty cool story about the ship. So in 1857, the SS Central America that Giz was talking about was heading for New York City by way of Panama, which I understand one of our lizards is going to be visiting. When it got caught in a hurricane off the coast of the Carolinas, the ship obviously did not make out well. It sunk. It took 425 crew and passengers along with
Oh,
it.
that's horrible.
And on this ship were heaps of gold from the gold rush that were from San Francisco that they were transporting. And the crazy thing is, so this went like 7,000 feet below the surface. It took recovery expeditions in the late 20th century and as recent as 2014 when they were finally able to extract a bunch of the stuff that was down there, including the cigars. And the wild thing is just how the ripple effect that something, just this one ship had. They claim that the sinking of the SS Central America, many believe that it was a huge contributor to the Panic of 1857, America's first major financial crisis.
Wow.
And apparently that banks in New York were counting on these shipments of gold to fortify their reserves, and the gold never made it when the ship sank.
Wow.
And so they said at the time, the gold cargo aboard was worth $1.6 million. This is in the 1800s. So imagine what that's worth
Right.
now.
Wow.
And none of it obviously made it to New York. And so it really caused a big financial
Can you
problem.
imagine
Amazing.
that telegraph coming in. The gold is gone.
But it seems like
somebody lost their job.
it's like if they recovered the cigars, somebody recovered the gold.
Uh-huh.
Well, so apparently a bunch of it was all over the sea floor. And in this area that they started to find it, they called it the Garden of Gold. And it's literally, they have like a photo in this article of just like gold all along the sea floor. And I
Wow.
imagine people, pirates and whoever else made out finding some of this stuff and making a good penny.
Pirate Bam Bam.
So J.C. Newman probably went there looking for gold and he found cigars.
That's so cool. That's
amazing.
That's such a great. That's
So
what
were
pirate
the
story.
what were the cigars in that
They were in the
that they-
so I was reading it. They were in the trunk of a first class passenger,
What?
like a
Waterproof trunk?
some sort of suitcase created a situation in
how
which
many?
these cigars
Okay,
were
so
preserved.
here's the
18
thing.
cigars.
So they
Oh,
they
just
also
18.
18.
They also did some things to restore the cigars. So from what it says here, it says that they credit the unique water conditions and a minimally breached trunk that Giz was mentioning to the resilience of the cigars. Upon discovery, The cigars were extracted and ultimately slowly freeze-dried over a few months to reach essentially the same stable condition that they
Wow.
were meant to be.
Did they pour tap water over them?
They were in water for 200 years.
It's crazy. They have a photo. This is the trunk that they were
Wow.
in. They got it
Wow.
off the ocean floor.
Unreal.
It's amazing.
That's cool.
I'm just impressed that there were lizards even then.
Were they?
Oh yeah, baby.
I wonder if they were. What were they? Padrones or?
I just think it's amazing that they were able.
Culebras.
Think about it. You're talking about tobacco, a leaf rolled up, survived at the bottom of the ocean for like almost 200 years. They pulled them out, they freeze dried them, and now they're in their display case at the front of their Tampa headquarters.
Can you imagine
that's
how
incredible.
unflavorful that is, though?
Oh yeah, I mean,
The crazy thing is they are very confident that these are the oldest cigars in the world. And it says that the reason that they believe this is, number one, previously the oldest known cigars in the world were from 1863. This ship predates that. Number two, it says that they were rolled by hand without cigar molds, which didn't become popular until the late 1800s. So this is probably the oldest cigars that exist.
That's amazing.
It's wild.
that's
Wow.
crazy.
And they'll be
So
kept. They'll be kept on display. I
But
guess.
do we know
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Any source of the cigar, like of the Cubans? Or
It says they were unbanded, so they don't.
Impossible to know that.
Yeah.
Where was it? What was the disembarkment site? What was the port?
So it was heading to New York, and the ship sunk off the coast of the Carolinas.
Where was it coming from? Sorry.
Panama,
From Panama.
Panama.
well, yeah.
Incredible.
As incredible as this cigar we're smoking right now.
This is so good, man.
Off the charts.
Yeah, we're about halfway through here, boys. The Oliva V
Off
and
the
Lancero. I am going to buy a cabinet of 36 of these before we leave here tonight.
Right behind you.
Yeah.
Send me the link.
I already ordered it.
Did you really?
Well, that's really graduating
I
because
know.
instead of like, hey, can you buy me one? Send me the link.
Thank you.
Listen, you're evolving. I love it.
No.
You got my back.
Pagoda, next week is episode 100. I think Bam can find himself some Oliva cigars.
I like the collaboration here. It's nice.
That's a nice way to put it.
It's called enabling, actually.
Oh boy.
So the other news story, boys, that we should touch on, we talked about this maybe 2 months ago, discussing the first quarter imports of cigars in the United States. Cigar Aficionado reported that cigar imports were down again slightly through the second quarter of the year, 3.4% decline on import. But obviously with price increases and whatnot, they're still making a ton of money, and the revenue is actually up. But, I mean, we were talking about this. I mean, it's got to be a product of, the shelves returning to normal kind of stock levels at the local B&Ms here in the United States. But also, people are back to work. People are traveling. People are, sitting at their desk again. They're not working from home as much. So I
Yeah.
got to imagine that's affecting demand, because I think even in this room, the six of us, and Puba included,
Mhm.
Things are kind of back to
Sure.
pre-COVID normalcy as
Sure,
far as
sure.
our habits.
Yeah.
Are you guys agreeing with that?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the context is really fascinating because obviously there was like the huge spike during COVID, and then they're talking about how now more recently we're starting to see these declines. But when you put it in context, like historically of like where imports are now from where they've ever been, it's insane. I mean, they're saying right now with these declines, if this kind of holds through the end of the year, that there'll be about 450 million cigars that are imported this year and they call this the new cigar boom. Between 2014 and 2017, so pre-pandemic, annually about 240 million cigars were imported. So the fact that we're
it's almost
talking
double.
double
Yeah.
from 2017 to
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
that's insane.
It is.
And it says that imports hadn't reached 400 million since 1997 when there was the cigar boom. So this is like historic, really, kind of this period we're in right now.
And it's really important to note, and I think we've touched on this before, but the quality of the cigars today in 2023 versus the quality of those cigars in the boom in the 90s,
Much better.
it's significantly better. And thankfully, with that FDA ruling we talked about, a few months ago being overturned, and premium cigar makers not being subject to the same regulation, R&D, new entrants into the market, new makers. It's like, to me, this is like we're in a phenomenal cigar boom, not just in volume but also in quality, which is, I think, a really fantastic thing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And that imports are a lagging indicator, right? So what that tells us is that demand has been kind of falling probably for a while now.
From
and-
COVID levels.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yep.
So to Senator's point, we had the boom. We got gluttonous with cigars. And
Who us? Are you talking about us?
the geckos around the world, yes. So I imagine there's, it's just kind of stabilizing. I do think it's going to probably stick around at the high levels because
I don't
you see
know. I'm not sure because the number of lounges have reduced dramatically. There are 11 lounges in New York City now. It's ridiculous. That's it. 11.
So I wonder what it does to the Habanos pricing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question.
I don't know if that's a good. I don't
No,
know. If that,
and
'cause-
you know why I
'cause
say
when-
it's like
'cause
during
when the-
COVID and when people are working from home, you can smoke in your deck. You can go to the lounges. You're during the day while you're working. You're, on your laptop. You're smoking a cigar. Now the expectation is you're going to go back to work at least 3 to 4 times a week. So that's going to be reducing, the overall activity in terms of cigar smoking from a home perspective, from a residential perspective. And on the other hand, if you're going to work and you want to go out and have a cigar after work, there are very few places to go out and enjoy it.
Yeah, the other
Very,
argument,
very intellectual there, Pagoda.
the other argument for that is that you have a lot of people.
Oxygen
that-
oxidizes.
Who knew?
Both very true.
All right, let's just say, Bam, you just got shanked big time, baby. All right, sorry, Grinder, go ahead.
I was just going to say the other side of that argument is that there were a lot of people that started getting into cigars and they were smoking on their patio and their deck, and they're still smoking on their patio and their deck. And oh, by the way, not many people are actually going into New York City still. So, I don't know if that's a good proxy. I think there are a lot of people that smoke like us, like, around their home and,
No,
in their garage.
I think I agree with that. I mean, the number of people that either started smoking cigars during the pandemic or were casual cigar smokers and then took that to
Mhm.
the level that we're all at in this room,
Mhm.
there's so many of those. And so, like, do I do believe what's contributing to some of these declines? Like, people are going into offices more. They don't have as much freedom to be able to stay home and smoke a cigar while trying to get some work done. So I get that people, like even me, I mean, I'm traveling more than I certainly was during the pandemic. So yeah, I do have less time to smoke cigars. But do I think that there's going to be like this giant drop off, or we're ever going back to a world where there's 200 and something million imports of cigars a year? I just don't really see that. And even anecdotally, I mean, I am shocked. Like, one of the things that is very encouraging for me, the young generation, the interest in cigars, I think is like as high as it's ever been.
It's true.
I mean, I just know, like, when I was very young, no super young person was interested in cigars. That was like an old person's
Old dude thing. Like
thing.
cognac.
Right. I can't
Cognac.
believe, I mean, now the number of people in my own firm, let alone just other random people, I'm talking young kids out of
Yep.
college that will come up to me and say, Senator, I hear you're a cigar guy. Can I smoke a cigar with you at some point? And I'm sitting there like, this is a 22-year-old, sometimes even like, not just men, women too.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it's just, I think it really bodes well for the future of the
Mhm.
industry. And that's where I think, like, for Habanos, what's such a damn shame is, like, I don't think there are many 22-year-olds that are looking to drop $25, $30-something on a cigar,
No.
especially getting into this hobby.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, this cigar for $7, like, this is exactly what that young person should
That's
start to,
Absolutely. Because of the quality of this and the experience, it's just a tremendous value.
I generally don't think, that metric is that frankly interesting, because it doesn't really tell a story, because it's a commodity price. It's a commodity. Imports are going to go up and down all the time. So, if anything, it's only showing, again, lagging indication of what the market is, or what the distributors are doing. So you might say that they're seeing some slackening in demand, maybe, but not that much, because we still see a lot of people smoking cigars.
The other thing that I think for me is playing into it too, not only the back to work, but also the back to normal kind of socializing. Like I had this, moment the other day where, we had some stuff on the calendar with the kids, with friends, with family, with, events and all those that disappeared completely during COVID.
It's ticking up.
And
though.
I filled
Yeah.
that time with, either you guys, the lizards, or smoking a cigar by myself on my deck or in the garage. And now those things have also ticked up in frequency and kind of resuming normalcy. And it's just like there's more time in the week eaten up by things that take away from time that, you'd normally be able to smoke cigars. So for me, as someone who I kind of control my own schedule, I work from home, I can do whatever I want as far as my workload. Those other things are actually creating more of an impact for me personally than some of the things you guys mentioned.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I think having a baby did a lot for my cigar consumption.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah. So boys, we're into what looks like the last third of the Oliva V Lancero. I would say this cigar is definitely smoking faster than I thought. And I actually thought I was pacing myself pretty well, but it's burning quite a bit faster than I expected.
It's not getting hot.
It's not. I'm not complaining. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's moving faster
It
than
is.
I thought it would.
I've noticed that it's kind of it's consistent for me. I'm not noticing many changes, which is great,
Yeah.
right now.
Nice and consistent. Yeah.
The delivery is still very, very smooth, even though it's definitely ramped up, the flavors that we were talking about. It's still such a smooth delivery. I'm not getting any bite at all. It's very, very pleasant. But I think this is like as an after dinner type of cigar. This really slots in well for me, like after a steak dinner, after a full meal. This is very, very satisfying, especially if you can only have one cigar.
I mean, I think it's also picked up in strength.
It has.
You can feel
think
it.
so?
Yeah.
It's
I don't know if
still-
it's
It's still
if it's
very
the-
smooth.
I don't know if it's a nicotine kick or if it's just like, in body, like in strength, it has picked up.
Are you going to need a ride home, Rooster?
No, actually, I'm going to have this in the morning.
Yeah, man.
Did you overnight that shipment that you just ordered? Of
No,
these?
like I said, I'm going over to Grinder's house.
Oh, that's
tomorrow
right.
morning.
Grinder has a stock.
There you
Come
go.
over tonight, Rooster.
All right. Ooh, only him? Damn.
So, boys, I wanted to share. I handed it out to you guys before we started in this nice presentation. So
Look
we
at
have,
this. It's like he broke out the lizard scroll. Look
yeah,
at this
Lizard
thing.
Scroll. This is a handwritten letter
Look at this.
from two lizard listeners,
Freaking awesome.
Lizard Weaver and Lizard Haku, who are the founders of a company called Siglu, sent us all trial
Oh, wait a
packages
minute. Wait a minute.
of a cigar repair tool.
What the
in-
heck is... Oh,
Pretty cool, right?
Wow, it's like a syringe.
So it's in like a pencil size format, almost kind of like like you would find at your perfect draw type size. But it's a tool to repair cigars that have been cracked or need repair while you're smoking them.
so I no longer need to rely on spit?
That's exactly it.
Wow.
So now we have Siglu.
I'm imagining this is all natural.
It is all natural.
Is this
And-
the same stuff they use in the factory?
Interesting.
It very well may be. I don't know.
So what
but
do we think it is? Like cellulose?
Yeah,
it's got to be some sort of natural product. But
yeah.
well, I think these are prototypes that they sent us, and they wrote us a nice letter, and they said, "Hey guys, it's Lizard Weaver and Lizard Haku here from Siglu. We hope you enjoy our new little invention, especially Rooster." They called out Rooster,
Nice.
especially
What
Rooster.
did I do now?
All of his fractured cigars.
Please give it a try and let us know what you think, good or bad. Friendly greetings from across the pond.
Where are they from?
Across
we
the
know?
pond.
Across the pond.
Yeah,
Okay.
very, very discreet.
Senator's doing immediate research on this. I
I
can
am.
see.
I just love the presentation of this in this kind of pencil-sized format.
Very medicinal.
Yeah,
and-
it would
yeah.
fit very nicely in a case. It's very unassuming.
Yep.
Wouldn't take up a lot of space, but if you have a cigar, I guess that's cracked or is performing, having issues,
Looks
drop
like
the cigar.
looks
cigar
like I can
glue
get
on
it at a surgical supply center.
But it's just cool that a group of listeners,
That's cool. Yeah.
invented this and sent it our way. Have to try it out.
Yep. So we'll use this on all the Oyos that we smoke that tend to delaminate.
The Romeos.
Romeos delaminate.
Yeah.
What else? A couple of Rask have delaminated. I could use this on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I really respect the use of the word delamination.
It's
Delaminate.
what it is. The
Yeah.
leaves delaminate.
You- he's a builder.
I may be getting a shank in a moment for that.
Pagoda doesn't like when Bam uses big words.
All right.
Listen, English is my second language, please.
Big words are unexpected from Bam Bam. I can tell.
We appreciate the Siglu guys sending this to us. It's very cool to get a package from listeners with a new product.
Yeah,
So
thank you for sending it.
Yeah, we'll give it a try and we'll let you know how it goes.
And I got to tell you, this cognac,
It's so good, man.
you gave me a really generous pour.
It's because you specifically told me when to stop pouring.
I blew right through it. Wow. This stuff is just delicious. It goes down beautifully. Fantastic spirit tonight, guys. Delicious.
This bottle is going to be kicked.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Now
I
we're
think I got a BAM pour here.
That's half the glass. That looks like a That looks like a Coca-Cola pour.
That's the 3-finger bottle.
What the heck is?
oh my goodness!
Is this Jay's bottle?
No,
Lizard J. You want to trade glasses?
yeah.
So Pagoda,
I think Pagoda's scared. I'll take it.
oh my gosh! I'm sorry for the listener. Pagoda's holding a half a glass full of cognac, and he's got the bottle in the other hand. And Bam says, "Do you want to trade?" He'll just keep the bottle. To drink
I'll
out.
adopt your glass.
And to the listeners, I'm not a big drinker, by the way.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
maybe on Tuesdays.
The Siglu thing is pretty cool. I have to say, thank you guys for that.
Yeah, the Siglu's great.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely gonna. You know, I carry a Sotolo is my main case,
Right.
and it has two kind of pencil slots. So my perfect draw's in one, the other one's open.
Yeah.
I'm gonna slot this right in there next to it.
So this will fit in my Peter James where I put my perfect draw.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It fits right in there. So
Yep.
you know, I'm definitely gonna give it a shot and see how see how it does.
I think I'm ready for an upgrade for a cigar box.
It's time.
It's about
Oh,
time.
it's definitely time.
I need.
My young grasshopper. Yes.
I'm in the market.
Yeah,
So-
you need to get a significantly better case than.
Well, where should I go?
Well,
Go
you
to
have
BAM.
options. You have Sotolo, you have the Peter James. You know, there's a lot of different options.
Just
What's the
don't
best
let
quality?
Gizmo send you Home Depot. That's not a place to get
We're
a
not
case.
going to Home Depot.
I carry a Sotolo. I'm very happy with my Sotolo. I know Rooster has one as well. We love it. Bam Bam has a Peter James. What do you have, Senator?
Cigar Dagger.
Cigar Dagger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options.
How are
out
the
there.
zippers? Because I recall some of these cases delaminating at the zipper.
Yeah.
My Sotolo has been very, very good for me.
The
I know
old
this is the,
Solos had that problem.
the
Yeah,
second
same.
generation Sotolo has been
good.
very good. Yeah, the
I
new ones.
kind of like Senators actually.
Cigar Dagger.
There you go.
Does it have a secondary slot for the Siglu?
There's enough room with the perfect draw you could fit it in.
You
Oh
could
yeah,
fit it
you
in
probably
there.
could right next
Yeah,
to it.
right
That's a
next
good
to
point.
it.
I think what I like about the Sotolos is they're 8.
Mhm.
10.
10.
10?
You
Oh,
can
wow.
fit 10. Yeah.
Yeah, and the rest are like 5 typically. Yeah.
Yep.
I
All those
like
are
it.
easy to carry.
I like my Sotolo. You know, like here's an example. Like this weekend, you know, going back to we just talked about folks who didn't smoke cigars prior to the pandemic. I'm going to see some of my college friends this weekend, and we're gonna go meet at Jamie's in Clifton and have some cigars, which will be cool.
Look at you.
Yeah, I love it there. The food is great, and
So
obviously
you've been
cigar
there?
bar. I've been there. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I've
I've
been
never
there a
been
bunch
there.
of
I thought he
times
was going to say he was going to Gizmo Con or something. I'm impressed.
with his Gizmo T-shirt on.
what kind of friend circle was that, by the way? What did you guys do? Did you like go to the AV club and like build TV
We were-
sets and stuff?
We were radio station guys at the college. We ran the
Yeah.
radio
So you
station.
guys exchange motherboards.
So yes.
Exactly.
Jamie's is a great spot.
We love Jamie's. So we go there every time we get together now. And, you know, as like we were saying, these guys did not smoke cigars in any meaningful way prior to the pandemic. Like I've known them for 20 years. Now we're getting together at Jamie's this weekend. Gonna have some cigars before before we go out with some other friends. And I'm bringing a stash of cigars for everybody. And the Sotolo is a perfect,
Yeah.
carry for that. But it's awesome. Like these guys are like really, really into cigars now.
That's cool.
And not because of me. Like I'm not, I don't push the podcast. They don't really know too much about it. I keep it separate, but
Push
What are you doing? You got to push it, bro.
it. Push it.
but it's like it's a nice thing when it's like I'm able
Yeah.
to show up at the Sotolo and I have like
So-
a stack of great cigars.
That's the cool thing about the Sogolo. I've never had one. In my Peter James, I can carry 5 max. I can't share. I can share 1 or 2. If I plan on having
Yours
a long,
doesn't hold 6?
it holds 5 comfortably, 6 uncomfortably. I can do a half Corona at the top. That'll be my 6th cigar.
He purposely got that.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to share. You're saying
There's a shake.
I only have 5 guys.
I'm gonna, you and I, we're gonna have a meeting outside.
I love it. I love it.
But the Sogolo is cool because you can share.
All right, I'm sorry.
that's cool.
Are you? What is it called, Bam?
Sogolo?
It's not a Sogolo.
Whatever.
It's a Sodalo.
So,
There's a
SOT.
T, not a G.
ELO.
I appreciate that, but I prefer it my way.
All right, Manny, your last name is wrong. It's Sogolo.
Yes, sir.
No, it's a great case, but I just like, it's like going back to, I didn't even think about that prior to the conversation we just had about the imports. It's like, these guys had no interest in cigars. And like I said, not because of me. They just started smoking cigars during the pandemic. And,
Nice.
I obviously have a nice collection, so I'm going to bring it.
It's
So
part of a
load
whole
up.
new generation.
Here's
Cigar boomers.
Here's a specific, what are you going to give them?
Yes.
What are you bringing for them?
So I'm going to bring D4s for all of us to start.
Wow.
Partagas D4s.
Wow.
Because they've, we've done this a few times now. So they're into the journey that I'm teaching them of starting with a Cuban cigar, have some food.
What day did you say you're going to be there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think all of us are
I
coming.
want a D4.
I want to learn.
Sorry, the place is packed.
No, I think we'll go to Jamie's and then go to a brunch place right after.
There you go.
I'll bring a motherboard.
All right, Rooster's in. No, it's so it's nice. We're gonna start with a Partagas D4. Actually, it's like having this cigar tonight. This might be in the rotation on
There you go.
Saturday. Like, Jamie's has great kind of rich food,
They do.
steak, Italian food. Like, it's really, really good.
Great pork chop there.
Do you buy
Great
it?
pork
Do you,
chop.
do you have to buy from the humidor or no?
No, they're very, very cool about it. If
No
you're-
cutting fee.
No cutting fee. As long as you're buying drinks and food, they don't care.
Yeah.
They
food's
kind of
good.
get when you're like a cigar guy. Like, they're not going to bust your balls. They're very, very, and the food is really, really good.
It's well done.
Yeah, as
and
far
here's
as
the
a cigar
thing.
place, they have a great kitchen.
The owner is extraordinarily appreciative of your business. He'll come visit with you. He'll ask you about your food. How's your cigar? Even if he didn't give you the cigar, what cigar are you smoking? He's really involved. So
It's a
he
good
appreciates,
spot.
he appreciates the business.
And talk about a rare spot. How many places in New Jersey has a liquor license and a fantastic restaurant, and you can smoke cigars in the entire place? I think it's 3,
3.
right?
3.
Sophia's,
Sophia's,
Oh, 4 then.
Brick House,
Brick House, our North Club.
Jamie's,
yep, Hearth and
Hearth and
Tap.
Tap.
Hearth and
Yep.
Tap.
That's 4.
Yeah, maybe
There's
there's
gotta-
one or
there's
two
gotta
more.
be more.
And the other place you went to, remember between the two buildings, you said the two new buildings.
Oh, and
by-
Ventanas.
Oh, Ventana.
Antennas.
Yeah, you can smoke there in the
Can
back,
smoke down
outside.
there.
Yeah.
But it's nice. You walk in, no matter where you sit in the bar or the restaurant, you can light up right there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a fantastic
Yeah.
place.
I mean, Ventana's is outdoors.
Yes.
It's outdoors?
Jamie's is inside. You can
Oh,
smoke
wow.
Indoors.
Right. There's a big difference
There's,
there. Yeah.
Brick House and
And honestly, the bar, when you walk in at Jamie's, it's actually beautiful to look at.
It is.
It's massive.
And
they've
the pours are very, very generous.
Very generous.
Yeah, they
I
they
think
are
we
very, very generous.
I've
Worth a
never been
visit.
to
I've never
Jamie's.
been either. We have to do a night.
We have to
Yeah.
do a night there. Come on.
And-
We'll do a dinner night.
Yep. And because of all this PR that we're giving out, we're going to send an invoice for this.
I was thinking the same thing, right?
I agree. Bam, this is Bam, Venmo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I love it there. It's fantastic. So I encourage any listeners in the tri-state area, if you're flying into Newark or something, it's not too far away, pop into Jamie's.
And it's affordable.
It is.
Sophia's
reasonable.
is a beautiful setting. It's expensive.
The problem with Sophia, we're talking about a restaurant called Sophia in Englewood.
Yeah.
The problem with Sophia, as far as the smoking goes, is it's not the same setup. The smoking section is completely segregated from the restaurant.
Yeah, there's
So
a
you
separate,
can't sit down and have a cigar while you're having your meal or after.
You
have to
can't
move
inside.
downstairs.
Time out.
Yeah,
You
he's-
can't inside. They have an
Down-
outdoor patio
That's true.
that is fully smoking.
That's
that
right.
You can have dinner and smoke.
Yeah.
That was actually so when the pandemic hit. and
Not
everything-
year round, but yes.
Yeah, when,
Yeah.
when the weather permits.
Right.
But when the pandemic hit and everything shut down, the first lizard dinner we did right when restaurants started opening was at Sophia's.
Yes, sir.
It was me, Rooster, Grinder, and Bam.
Mm-hmm.
and we had a fantastic.
And one other guy.
Yeah, one other guy.
We'll name.
It's not Puba. We're not making a joke
Yeah,
about Puba.
no, no.
It's somebody
Tranquilo,
else.
Yeah, but
tranquilo.
at Sophia's, can you not smoke in the inside room when you
No.
go steps down?
No, you
there's a
can.
in
bar?
the downstairs there's
Yeah.
cigar area,
Yes.
but you can't have a full meal
You
there.
can't
Really,
eat
it's
there?
like more of a bar.
It's a
kinda
cigar
setup,
bar,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no food.
I mean, I'm
don't-
sure you could get something, but you wouldn't get like a giant porterhouse
No,
and eat
it's
it comfortably
appetizers,
there.
drinks,
Yeah.
and cigars.
And the
So-
problem with the place downstairs is that if there are a lot of members who show up, they won't let you in.
Yeah,
So
that's the
if
thing.
it's empty, they'll let you in.
There's
It's
no
like-
guarantee you can
there's
smoke
no
There's
cigars
guarantee.
down there.
also at Sophia's there is a cutting fee there.
Yes, there is a
100%.
cutting fee,
Yeah, where at Jamie's you don't have a cutting fee.
Yeah.
Brick House, no cutting fee.
and same with Hearth and Tap.
No cutting fee there.
And Jamie's, Brick House, and Hearth and Tap, you could smoke in the main restaurant
right.
and eat at the same time. It's
You
all
smoke
smoking anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I mean, not too many places left like that, but I'm looking forward to having some cigars and food with my
I heard
college buddies.
Club Macanudo is closed for a while.
Is that right?
Really?
I don't know. I haven't been
Wow,
there for a
that's
few
a
months.
huge problem. If
I
that's
love
the
that
case.
stuff.
Oh, you know why? Because I did see Al Sharpton at Carnegie.
Yeah.
And
And
must
that
be
could
closed.
explain it.
That, yeah, wow.
Wow.
That's a huge deal. I just say that because when the Grand Havana club closed down,
No.
most of the members flocked to Club Macanudo.
That's true.
If that place is closed for a while, now they're all going to be at Carnegie, plus the regular crowd there. I mean,
Or
that's
merchants.
The
Yeah.
problem with Carnegie, when it gets crowded, it's really tough to enjoy yourself there. It's tough.
I don't know, man. I always enjoy that.
I like
you know why? You got to realize that I'm there like at 3:34.
Oh, it's perfect time.
I hope
year
my boss is
before
not
you,
listening.
yeah.
I'm
4
sure
days,
she's not.
4 days a week.
But
But you're working though. You're working.
You are
I'm working. I'm
got
always
clients.
working.
You're schmoozing clients, man.
I am.
He's working hard right now.
He's
Look at
working
him.
right now. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm always in that one corner.
Look at all the work he's put in on that bottle of cognac. I mean, man deserves a raise.
Oh, yeah.
We should write a recommendation letter. No, I like Carnegie, to go there for a cigar and a drink. Generally I'll do that when I'm dropping Mrs. Giz off at like a concert or something. And I'll go, Carnegie, have some cigars,
Yeah.
and pick her up after. But to me, I've not been there on a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night
It's a
late.
scene. It's a
I
scene.
would assume it gets pretty crazy. And unfortunately, the service during the day, at the times even Pagoda's mentioning, it gets a little challenging to get drinks moving, to get things happening. And they don't honor purchasing cigars at Davidoff anymore. They used to waive a cutting fee if you purchased cigars in the city
Not anymore.
and showed them a receipt. They got rid of that. So
yeah.
unfortunately, it's a very expensive experience now to smoke a cigar at Carnegie in the city.
Yeah, but you know what? You're so limited in the city now. How many spots are there? Like 10 now?
Yeah, well,
11?
10 if Macanudo's closed.
Yeah, so if you're sitting, you're going to spend that money because you want a cigar.
Do we have any idea why Macanudo's closed? Is there renovations?
I
or
hope they're
something?
renovating. That would be great.
I believe that's what it is.
Well,
That'd be great.
They need to renovate.
I think the manager sucks.
A shank.
What was that thing you just did? A pistol whip?
I'm getting scared.
So, boys, how you feeling about the Oliva V Lancero?
I am in heaven. Cloud
This for a sub $10 cigar has been an absolute revelation.
I think it's within my budget.
Let me ask the lizards this: if this were a $12 cigar, would you buy it?
Same.
Still good?
Definitely
Yes.
in.
I think
15 good.
I think anywhere close to 18 or 20, it would start to affect my perception. I think this cigar is severely underpriced.
Agreed.
If you're an
it's
Oliva
fine.
representative or the CEO or something, ignore that comment.
Yeah.
But
Please
if
don't
it-
listen to the podcast.
Again, you got to push the podcast.
If this cigar were 15 or 16 bucks, I don't think it would change my perception of our experience tonight at
Yeah,
all.
and
At
it's-
7 or 8, at a volume discount, buying a box.
Yes, please.
Wow.
Because it's so cheap, it traverses like the Cuban experience and New World cigar experience. You can intermingle this with your repertoire for that night. If you're going to do New Worlds and Cubans, it just works perfectly
I mean, how much is the Oliva V
for that
the
price.
bigger size, like the
Churchill? I think that's 11 or 12.
So, I mean, this is a Lancero, so
Yeah.
it's perfectly priced.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are mass
This
produced.
is
yeah.
this is still a value cigar though. At any price, 10 to 12 bucks, even with tax, wherever you're buying, I'm sure in the city it probably gets closer to 15, but at $7 or $8, I don't know if this can be beat.
I think this also speaks to the just inherent quality of Nicaraguan tobacco. Like you don't need to do much to it to make it wonderful. The soil's so rich there. It's so unique and different. The Cuban seed they brought over, it's got its own character now, and it's wonderful. It's like it's the next generation of Cuban seed and the kind of evolution of the
But
tobacco.
not all Nicaraguan cigars are great.
No, of course not. But not all
It's,
Cubans are great. Not
No,
all-
but
I mean,
I think to Grinder's point, proportionally,
Yeah.
there
this-
are more Nicaraguan cigars, I think, that we like than any other New World source of tobacco.
I agree.
No, correct. They fit in a flavor profile.
Totally
Meaning it's
agreed.
like
Totally agreed.
from
And
Padrones all the way to the multiple.
And I think when you have a manufacturer like this or Padron or even Foundations making some great cigars,
Yeah.
When you have a manufacturer who's got a great palate, who's blending the cigars, they've got great sourcing on the tobacco, the Cuban seed that, obviously Oliva and some of these other manufacturers have really curated over the years. And then you have age on the tobacco where they're patient enough to age these leaves to the point that they're going to deliver that Nicaraguan experience so smoothly. Because how many Nicaraguans have we had on the pod that punch you in the face? How many Nicaraguans have we had off the pod that punch you in the face that we don't even want to touch? I mean, some of those tatuajes,
Oh,
are just,
Oh,
for
yeah.
me,
yeah.
are just not
They're
an
not.
enjoyable
But
experience.
that whole Pledge series of cigars.
Pledge, oh my
Come
gosh.
on, man.
Pledge
They're
of Allegiance is a perfect example
incredible.
of an excellent, Nicaraguan. I mean, there's some American seed.
Yeah, don't forget the El
tobacco in there
Senador
too.
that we smoked.
El Senador, La
Fantastic,
Historia
yeah.
was a fantastic cigar. So to me, it's like the patience with a great palate on the blend.
Mhm.
That's what we're experiencing.
I have respect for them too because they, their production quality, the testing they do, the QC on the draws. One of the reasons why I would surmise that we don't have these consistency problems is because they have those quality controls throughout the entire step of the manufacturing process.
So
Yeah.
would you rate Nicaraguan cigars better than Cuban cigars?
No, I'm just talking about
No,
production
no one's
quality.
production
Yeah, yeah.
quality,
Here's
not
what I
in
will
terms of
say,
flavor profile.
and
Well,
consistency.
definitely quality control is
Way better.
way
Well,
better.
Yeah,
Here's what
but-
I'll say too, though. To your point, okay,
I mean, just the price point,
we smoked those Cohiba Lanceros.
Yeah.
Okay, on the podcast,
$100 a stick.
It's $100 a stick.
Highly rated in this group.
And here's the thing though. This cigar, I went in the humidor here at 1086. I just grabbed 7 cigars. Okay, I grabbed 7 cigars. I threw them in a bag and done. Those Cohiba Lanceros, $100 a pop. I have a box of them. I went through each of them, looking at the foot, making sure I picked however many guys, 5, 6, 7 guys were here,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that I picked cigars that from my eye looked like, okay, there's the lowest chance of a potential draw issue on the cigar. That means probably that the other,
Maybe.
15 or 20 I have in that box, half of them I'm probably going to have to fight.
Yeah, and that's Cuba being Cuba.
That's Cuba being Cuba.
And
But
we-
that's the point, though. $100 cigar in Cuba versus a $7 cigar from
Yeah.
Nicaragua that I didn't even look at that come in a cellophane wrapper tonight
Yeah.
that I didn't even care which one each of us got because I knew that they were going to be fine.
Yeah.
That is a huge deal.
It's a huge merit.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
We're
And you-
talking
you
$7 versus $100.
Dude.
You cannot walk into a store and buy singles of Cohiba Lanceros.
No,
No, you
you
have to buy the
cannot.
box. That's a
You gotta buy a box.
$2,500 box.
Yeah.
It's a huge investment, and out of that, then you're taking a chance how many are good and how many are going to have draw issues.
You're gonna throw $250 away on 10 of them that are probably gonna smoke like shit.
Yeah.
5 of them that you're gonna be able to fight with the perfect draw,
Mhm.
and maybe the other 10 are gonna be okay. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, and experience, to be specific, I'm an inch down from the end and I'm still retrohaling on every draw. It's still extremely smooth and so freaking flavorful. It's amazing.
So I finished and with all of the comments about the strength and the nicotine and it even now, like I don't have that like, oh, I just got punched in the face. You know, I
Not at
feel
all.
like I could to your comment earlier,
Yeah,
I could I'll take another one. you
Yeah,
know?
Yeah.
I
I
could
would
do-
smoke another one tonight, like
Thank
you said.
Thank you.
Yep.
I agree.
100%.
Yeah.
I would smoke another one after this. If we had 6 more, we could sit here, turn off the mics, have another one, and have another hour and a half of a great experience.
We're all driving to Gizmos tonight.
No.
Grinders.
Grinders.
Grinders, yeah, there we go.
Grinder's the only one that has them. I don't have any more.
Hi,
Actually,
Mrs.
the
Hi, Mrs.
lounge-
Grinder. We're here.
It's more in the lounge.
Yeah, there might be here. Yeah, there might be some here.
I just think that the thing I'm just so impressed that I'm in the last half inch, and the flavor is completely unchanged. It's not muddled, hasn't fallen off. I'm really stunned.
So, it's rare to see Senator get down that close.
Yeah.
I watch everyone's cigar habits. A lot of guys tend to put down 3, maybe 1.5 inches from the end. You're about where I am.
Yeah.
And this,
With your toothpick.
yeah, I mean, it's worthy of a perfect draw, just sticking it in there and wrapping this thing up right down to the end.
So, boys, we're coming to the end of our evening here with the Hennessy VSOP and the Oliva V Lancero. Any final thoughts before we get into the to the ratings?
I think we just expressed them.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really interested to see what happens with the ratings tonight. I have no idea. I have no idea where these are going to go.
I have a pretty good idea.
Yeah, and if they're really highly rated, we're going to reminisce on other cigars, Cubans that are extraordinarily difficult to find that we've rated very, very highly. And you're going to rate a sub $10 cigar that's made in Nicaragua.
Yeah,
I mean,
Why not?
what the fuck?
it's called value, baby.
It's
You know,
insane.
I can picture the social media guy with his line on IG. It's going to say, oxygen oxidizes.
I hope so.
All right, Bam, you ready to do the formal liquor rating on the Hennessy VSOP?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 9 on this thing. It's just delicious through and through. No ice. Honestly, when we first tried the Senator, it did have a little bit of an unusual flavor to me. I wasn't ready for it. But as you get into this bottle, every sip improves. It's fantastic spirit to drink.
Grinder.
I'm also giving it a 9. I thought it was wonderful. I didn't have a gizmo pour, but
Do you want one?
No.
Dude, I got like a half a
I mean,
gallon in
I
my cup.
I can make it happen.
I know you can.
I can make it happen,
you
baby.
do it often. I thought it was wonderful. I thought the pairing was especially tasty, and I think that added to the enjoyment of it. There were a lot of really fun notes that I was getting on my palate. Like the sweetness was there. It was kind of musty-ish, if that makes any sense, but in a good way. And that kind of sweetness with the smoothness of it all. It had a little bit of a punch, which I kind of appreciated because I don't want to think that I'm just drinking, Kool-Aid. So I thought it was great. A 9 for me on the liquor scale is
It's
kind
a
of
big
high.
deal.
Yeah.
Very high.
Oh,
Meaning
yeah.
you
It's a
rated
big
the
deal.
Macallan 18 or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, you're very, very specific about
It's
So-
true. It's true.
liquor ratings.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Pagoda.
It's a 9 for me. I've been debating with a 9 or a 10. I think 9 is the right rating for a couple of reasons. One of them is that, firstly, this is my wheelhouse. I love cognacs, cigars. If you go back to the
I love
early part of-
cognacs and cigars. Yeah.
But, you know,
Oxidizes, oxygen oxidizes.
no, but it's like one of those things. It's like, everybody is happy. The mood is great. The experience is great. And I think early in the episode, I'd kind of mentioned that this is how, anyone's experience about a cigar and a drink should be. And having said that, very easygoing. There was no sharpness, very flavorful. It enveloped my mouth and it left a nice, reasonable coating. I kind of really enjoy it that way. And so for me, definitely a 9.
All right, Senator.
This is tough. I've been going back and forth on 2 ratings.
Oh boy.
I've been going back and forth on an 8 and a 9.
I had a
Oh,
feeling.
boy.
I had a feeling.
So I love that it has body. It's a viscous cognac. I love the rich flavor notes that you
Yeah.
get from it. especially with a full cigar like we're smoking tonight. The only thing, my only complaint, I think everybody knows this about me. I don't love sweet things generally. So like I'm not even a huge dessert guy. It's a little sweeter than I would prefer. And I've been wrestling with how that factors into whether it's an 8 or a 9 for me. I will definitely drink it again. So that's where either of those scores, it's a for sure recommend. I guess, I feel like guys have said this before. Factoring in tonight, the pairing, everything, I am going to round up. I'm going to give it the 9.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
my only caveat is just I wish it were just a little less sweet, but otherwise I love the flavor notes that you get from it. And I'm glad this really has challenged my perception. And I hope a lot of other people that listen to this, their perception of like Hennessy is just this like, nightclub drink.
Right.
I mean,
Good
Grinder
point.
gave it a 9. You have to.
You have to.
I don't think there's ever like a night that you guys have, like Grinder.
I know. I feel like I should give it a 6 just to balance it out.
So I'm going to be the outlier.
10.
No, I'm going to give it an 8.
Oh,
It's not my favorite VSOP we've done.
That wasn't your
Um,
commentary throughout the whole night.
Listen, it was really, really good. I would take the Remy 1738 over
My
this.
heart just dropped into my stomach.
There are some other VSOP type, category cognacs that I would put above this. So this is definitely an 8 for me.
I think it reminded me of the Heinz Rare. Not reminded me,
I don't know.
but in terms of
I don't see that. I agree with you,
To
Senator.
me,
I
this
disagree.
is more like the
Remy.
1738.
Yes.
1738
That's a
sweeter,
fuller bodied
bodied, yeah.
cognac.
Yeah, and there's a hint of sweetness in that 1738 that you don't get in the Hein.
in the Heinz you don't get the sweetness. Yeah,
Yeah.
I almost want to modify my rating. Oh, this is so
Too
funny.
late.
You want to go up?
No, he's going
No, I
want to
go
Oh,
down.
you
No.
want to go with me?
Too
Go
late.
Because the
It's
funny
not too
thing
late.
is when
We-
you consider
It's always too late.
when you consider
Once
no,
you
it's
rate
not.
it, you're done.
No. In fairness,
By the way,
hasn't
he
given
rates
any-
content.
rates first every time. So
He hasn't
Fuckers.
given the
Bam
composite
is
score. Because the only thing, like as you're saying it, what's a little hard for me is when I do compare it to the Hein Rare VSOP,
yeah,
and when I compare it to the
1738.
1738. And the 1738 is the direct comparison. The Hein Rare for me is so different by design
It
that
is.
I don't view these as competing. But the Remy 1738, it's similar price. 1738 is like $65 a bottle.
By the
That's
way,
right.
I want to also mention we did the Remy VSOP in addition to the 1738 on the
Yes,
podcast.
right?
That's kind of right there with this one for me in that 8 or 9 category.
You know what we left
Did
out?
it?
We also did the Courvoisier VSOP.
Yes, we did. I
which
have
was
them all.
insanely affordable. It's
I
like
have them
They were
all.
like 40 bucks.
But
to
wait a
the
minute.
bottle.
Didn't we
bottle.
like the 1738 over the Remy VSOP?
We did.
We did,
We did.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
I think.
All right,
I-
so
All right, no, don't do the rate. I have to change it. I have to.
This
I'm
is
no,
sorry.
you cannot.
It's a-
I'm
hold
sorry.
on. To do
It's
it.
too late.
it's not.
We're not allowed
Rooster
to.
shaking
No.
his head.
No.
This is not right.
is this
No.
is this a breach of
It's
protocol?
a breach of
It is
protocol.
not.
Yes,
It's
it
not.
is.
You
Not
can
allowed,
rescind, you can
Senator.
rescind a score up to the point of tally.
Correct.
That's the
That's the rule.
Is that a new
No.
rule?
This
That's
is
the
the,
rule.
It's
this
like
is
playing
the,
chess. You
What
have
the hell?
this is the
You
rule
have
of the
moved-
chamber, and this chamber
I
operates.
agree with Rooster.
Grinder has spoken.
No, Senator. This is like the chess piece.
Thank you,
move.
Pagoda.
No,
You can't
You're
take
not
your
allowed.
hand
By the way,
off
call
the
to
piece. He took his hand off the piece.
I
It's
did
done.
not. I
The
did
chess
not.
move is
I
not
made his
done.
okay.
I did
I
not.
love, by the way, that it took 99 episodes for us to have this argument.
I know. This is great.
You can't
No,
change
no.
it. No,
I
you
That's a new
cannot.
rule.
I can.
No, you cannot.
Guess what? Pagoda.
No,
It's
you
my
cannot.
rating. That's why I can change it.
I-
I
No,
can't
you
change
cannot.
your
No.
rating, but I can change
No.
my rating.
No, 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 no,
No.
no.
Okay, gentlemen.
My rating, I'm sorry. Look,
So
again,
you're moving to an 8.
I'm moving to an 8 solely because I'm still going to pick up Remy 1738 any day over this,
Yes,
but I will enjoy this, and this
So-
will make its way into the rotation sometimes.
All right.
So I'm giving it an 8. It's still a definite
let's
recommend.
vote.
All right, well,
Let's
look.
vote.
So two things I want to say on this.
I like
Number
that.
one, I'd like to take credit for this significant adjustment.
You know what? You've
Senator
affected.
Fred.
No, no,
You
no.
hold
Let's
on.
be
no,
clear.
no.
I started by.
Giz,
Let's
he
be
was
clear.
Giz.
Let's be clear.
No.
I
Giz.
started my rating by saying I'm
Giz, you're the
debating between an
moderator?
8 and a 9.
No.
He didn't need much.
Nobody's allowed to change.
He was
the rating.
barely on the edge there. He
Gizmo?
was generously rounding up. You could
Gizmo.
see it in his face.
Yes.
If I may, Gizmo has directly influenced Senator.
No, fair
On
enough.
record.
No,
On
but
record.
All right, one more thing.
Giz will also stand up and say, you're not allowed to change the rating. Right, Giz?
The other thing I'll say,
Giz, stand up and say, you're not allowed to change the rating. Because we've had multiple times when we're
true.
between two ratings, and if we start changing it based on whatever our mind changes, we cannot do that.
All right,
So
so
let me say one thing. He's not wrong. You have been rather militant on this,
Yes.
and
You
almost rude. Might I say?
Yeah. Yes.
So second of
how
all,
am I taking heat?
second
on
of
this?
all,
Because you're the moderator. You could have just cut him off.
hey, we're here organically. We're growing. We can look at archaic laws and make a motion to dismiss
Archaic
them and
laws.
understand them. They do not suit our time.
All right.
I think we should mature.
So here's the other thing I'll say too, is that if we accept this change,
Then everybody will be changing every rating all the way through.
Yeah, that's exactly
I'll go.
right.
I was 9. I'm 7 now.
No, I go back on my word.
it does change
Really?
precedent. You know, it does.
I'm sorry, Senator. I apologize, but this is
the
not
disapproving
where I
nod.
agree
The
with you.
disapproving nod.
which is fair.
All right,
There's no justice in this chamber. No justice.
Giz.
You know
This-
what? Put an
I love
asterisk
it.
next to
I'll
his
put an
rating.
asterisk.
Yeah, you know what? This is the first time.
How about this? Giz?
Pagoda's
He's on
coming in
fire.
hot.
No,
He
but-
is on fire.
You know what? Listen, I kind of contributed to the rating system, and I've got to have a say in this.
He's not wrong. He's also.
Here's what I'll say though. Here's what I'll say.
In fairness, your contribution I did honor. I gave it a whole number.
That's
not
true.
a decimal.
Here's what I'll say. The other thing that this does too is it does change the precedent
Mm-hmm.
of the rating system.
Yes, it will.
So that's an important thing to consider, Senator. Is do you want Bam Bam changing his 7 to a 9?
No, there's
Because
some
he did.
guys-
You had a question 2 or 3
and I
episodes
wasn't
ago.
allowed. I wasn't allowed.
You weren't allowed.
Thank you.
So
All right, all right.
I'm
I
You
was
weren't
not
allowed.
allowed to
I'm
make
sorry.
change.
All right,
Senator.
listen. I'm all about what's good for the order. What's
Yes.
good for the order is clearly then not changing it.
Not
So,
changing it.
We're
That's
going
it.
to keep my 9,
Okay.
but I am going to very
Yes,
much
we win.
caveat.
Now you
and flag.
win.
You can convince. You can
know who wins?
No. You can convince Rooster
Hold
to
on.
give it a 7.
Lizard
Okay.
J.
All right.
Yeah, Rooster, take a sip and give it a 7.
Okay, here we go. So the formal liquor rating
$50.
with Senator's 9 is an 8.8.
Fantastic.
great.
Okay,
I can
so
live with
now,
that.
That's a
good
pretty
rating.
high
That's a good
rating, I
rating.
think.
I
by
can
the
live
way,
with that.
it would only change the rating to an 8.6 if he
That's-
did rate it an 8, but we'll keep it as a 9.
Okay.
So it's the formal liquor rating. By the way, I'm glad after 99 episodes, I said formal at some point. Now we understand
formal.
why I said it's formal.
Thank you.
This explains the formality of our rating system. For the listener out there, it's very, very serious.
It's a real thing.
Very,
And-
very serious.
is.
And Lizard J, thank you for the recommend.
we are a pod of lizards, but we are also a pod of laws.
Thank you, Grinder.
Thank
well
you.
said.
Ooh.
All right, so let's go.
You can now send us your invoice.
Let's go through some of the other VSOPs we've done on the pod. Low rated, the Douce VSOP
Yeah.
What was
got
that?
a 5.3.
Not good.
Not very good. H by Hein VSOP was a 6.8.
Yeah, not good.
The Hein Rare VSOP was a 9.
Yeah, I agree
Makes
with that.
sense.
The
Makes
Remy
sense.
Martin VSOP was an 8.4.
Oh, you see, that's
That's the regular VSOP.
And I
That's not
think-
1738.
And I think,
right.
yeah.
What's the 1738?
Exactly. Remy Martin 1738 was a 9.3.
There you go.
Very
So
good.
I think this is
And
good
hold on.
rating. Yeah.
Most
it
importantly,
works. It works.
gentlemen, most importantly, the Courvoisier VSOP was a 10.0.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
podcast.
I
There's the
remember
price
that.
point too. It's like 40
Yeah, it was 40 bucks.
bucks.
It was really good. I
Yes.
think that night was great. I
so
remember
I think, So I think an 8.8 actually 8.6, 8.8.
It works.
No,
It
it
actually
worked out
it perfect.
perfectly.
Yeah.
This was good that this happened.
Like it always does. It always works out.
If this happened on a cigar, there might be warfare here, by the way.
You know, yeah. Senator's dissension is quieted down, and it worked out perfect.
There was no dissension. I did what was for the good of the order.
Hey, but listen, oxygen oxidizes. All right.
I have a whole dissertation on oxygen for you. If you're interested.
I'm making a motion to migrate this conversation to remediation after the session
right,
to
all
in the
right.
next
Done.
session.
Yes,
So-
we're going to work this
Yeah.
out. All right. We have settled some lizard business tonight, boys.
We have.
Yes, sir.
All right. And when Senator's wrong, it's fantastic, isn't it, Bam?
It's 1 in 100, by the
yes
way.
and
Less
no.
than 1 in
Yes
1
and
in
no.
200. Less than
Senator's
less than
wrong.
1%.
I can't get it right every day. All right.
No.
He almost got away with
He
it.
did almost get away with it, didn't he?
I saw that Giz was gloating, and you had his support for sure.
I did like, by the way, I'm not going to, I was leaning his side when he said,
We could tell.
because of my rating, he
Yeah.
was
Which
Which is
thinking
why
about
I said
his.
to Bam, I voluntarily said this is better for the group
This is
This is
true.
excellent. It is.
Thank you.
I'm still going to
because
take
I had the most
Thank you.
important vote in the room, which was Gizmo's.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna-
our
I'm gonna-
fearless leader. That's true.
I'm going to take that as a big win for me,
It is a win.
very selfishly. All right. Are you guys ready to do the formal lizard rating on the Oliva V Lancero?
Yes, sir.
All right. Rooster, good luck.
I'm between a 7, 8, 9, and a 10.
Yeah. Don't you fuck this up.
I don't
okay?
think I'll keep changing it every 10 minutes.
Okay, here we go. Rooster.
There's so much pressure on this now.
I'm gonna give it a 10.
No way.
This
Whoa.
was
Really?
an awesome. This was an awesome cigar.
Awesome cigar.
Right
What?
from the beginning, when I smelled the wrapper, I already had like this is gonna be a high score.
See,
And when you lit it, and I was in awe. And then keeping the price point. I mean, you can find this for under $8 a stick.
It's crazy.
It's pretty incredible.
It's insane.
You can smoke 12 of these at the same as one Coiba.
Coiba Lancero. That's
12?
right. And with no like draw issues and
None.
absolutely no issues.
And delicious from
Delicious
beginning.
I
smoke
just-
from the beginning to the
You
end.
talk about somebody who's changed. He's changed.
He's
It
changed.
has changed.
No, I mean, if the cigar is good, it's good.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Exactly. And now I'm going to introduce some Rocky Patels.
Fuck you.
I just love Rooster's story.
I'm gonna
It was-
oxidize your ass with the cigar glue.
I love
All right.
Rooster's story. It was love at first smell. When I first smelled the cigar,
Oh, that wrapper
Did he
was
say that?
intoxicating.
Did he say that?
It was orgasmic.
It's like as soon as I smelled the cigar, I knew it was a 10.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't say 10. I knew it was
Yeah,
it
he
would
knew
be a
he'd
high
like it,
score. The wrapper just smelled amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
This
a
is
10.
what happens, by the way, boys, when we have a
Wow.
great cigar. This happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've lost. The train is off the tracks.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Senator.
Very good thing.
All right,
What's
so
your rating?
since I can't change my score, I have to give it a 6. No, I'm just kidding.
Just to compensate.
You're out. You're out.
For me, it's a definite 9.
Yep.
It's an
Yeah.
excellent smoke. I will definitely smoke this again. I will buy these, like everybody has said. I thought that the biggest surprise. I mean, number one, the construction. It's one of the nicest looking Lanceros, truly, I've ever seen. I mean, invisible seams we talked about. The combustion out of this little ring gauge was fantastic. Probably the most combustion I've gotten out of any Lancero that we've done on this pod. The flavor profile, rich, concentrated, complex. I think for me, the only reason it's a 9 and not a 10 is this is only an evening cigar for me, and it is preferably after a meal. So it doesn't have the same versatility that some other Lanceros that I would slot in literally any time of day. And the end, it picks up quite a bit. And
Which is what I like.
Yeah.
I know that's why
Yeah.
for Rooster,
It was good
I'm
right
not
down to
surprised
the
at
end.
all.
Yeah.
It's right in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But for me, strong 9 would definitely smoke this again.
Great.
I've been at a 9 since the second third.
Me too.
I'm shocked to say this, but it was a phenomenal cigar from front to back. Having said that, where I'm going to slot it in is going to be selective. I kind of put it in that Davidoff Millennium category where I'm not going to reach for it all the time, but when I do, I'm going to be very, very satisfied. But it's not going to slot in a very regular rotation for me, just like the Davidoff Millennium. So it's a 9 for me all day.
It's also
Bam doesn't like
1/3.
that.
Yeah, no, I don't like that because the rating's excellent. Look, a 9's an elite score.
Very
it is,
late,
it is
very
for me.
late.
But
It is
it's
for me.
From the flavor profile, for me, it's more versatile than the Millennium because it's so delicious and
It's also
flavorful.
1/3 of the price.
Oh,
That's
I
true.
disagree.
That's true.
And that's the other thing. It's such an easy 9.
Very easy.
Even
Yeah.
if it's smoked 25% less like great than it did tonight.
Yeah.
At $7, I mean,
It's crazy.
the value prop is just it's really amazing. So I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm happy with a 9. Pagoda.
I've been debating between a 9 and 10, and I'll be very honest. This is reasonably within my flavor profile. what I was really looking for was a little more cocoa coffee flavor, like a little more Padron-esque kind of flavor, but it wasn't there. But it was very good. I had certain bursts of cocoa. I had certain bursts of spices. For me, um, I'll tell you, I really enjoyed this cigar. I'll give it a 10.
Wow,
Oh,
man.
now we're talking.
Wow.
Wow.
Grinder,
Yeah.
you're up. Here we go.
Grinder has 2 cabs of this.
He does.
This better be a fucking 10.
I've
For
been-
$7. and by the way,
Rooster, did you buy into Oliva? You're very concerned about this score
no,
over
but
here.
I think the important part really, the
Rooster
important
sent
part
us a
is
memo 4 hours ago.
I think so.
the pricing. Listen, for $7, $8, $10, the pricing
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, we've smoked so many Lanceros, but with this kind of pricing, this kind of flavor profile, and this kind of burn, combustion, solid construction, I don't know. Like, it hit every mark. I thought it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So I love these cigars. I've been smoking these cigars a while, like Rooster said, and I mentioned in the pod today. I have a bunch of these, and I grab for them frequently. I like Lanceros a lot. We all like Lanceros a lot. We love them, and this is my stock of Lanceros. This is what I smoke. I have I have those the other Drew Estate that I've smoked, but it's not been. I haven't been running hot with those. I usually smoke these, and when you mentioned that tonight, I got excited, and I said, "Did you know I have like 2 cabinets? I have 2 boxes of these. Like you didn't have to buy them, kind of thing." And it's a classic Nicaraguan Puro to me. The smell is wonderful. It's a little mustier, and I mentioned this before. I like that kind of musty scent, and I seek that out. And when I find it, I really, it really hits my power alley and and for me, it's a 10.
Wow.
Because if I asked a question earlier, what if the price were higher? Would you still smoke it? For me, the price could go higher and I'd still smoke the cigar. And when I think of that and I see the price now, it's just amazing. And that's why I have two boxes of them, right? Because when you see them on Atlantic, you're just like, this is like cheap. This is so cheap. I don't just.
And I think the
Great
thing
value.
I want to say too is my understanding of your purchasing. You're not like an indulgent purchaser of cigars.
Mm-mm.
You're going to buy something that you're going to love and smoke and really enjoy. You're not running out and buying boxes of something that you're unsure of. So the fact that you have as many boxes as you do points to
Right.
your rating tonight.
Yep.
He better stock up. It sounds like Rooster is going to order a master crate of these.
He's going to rate his
I'm
house
ordering
tonight.
a new tower.
Just for this cigar.
I think to Rooster's point, it's got that strength that you look for. It's very classic of Nicaraguan Puro, but there's that subtleness that is toned down a couple notches, and it just rounds out the experience wonderfully. And you smell it every composite part of this stick, on the foot, on the nose, on the retrohale. Every one of them is a little bit different, but still has that common thread, and it's perfect for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It smoked beautifully from the beginning to the end.
Right. Yeah. There was some change, right? It picked up,
Yeah.
but you get to the end there and you want more of it.
I did.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
I was the first one
I
to
wish it
finish.
was another inch longer.
Yeah. And
I do.
everything, look, for my rating, I am going to give it a 10.
Wow.
Everything that you're saying, look at the other cigars.
Senator wants to change his rating.
I don't know. He's firmly
Actually, sorry, Rooster's correct. Can I be an 8?
you know,
He can
these
only go
tens,
up. He
my
can only go
goodness.
up.
there are a lot of it's reminiscent of a lot of the
You're in trouble, Senator.
it's reminiscent of a lot of the elite cigars that we've rated in that realm. Vegas Urbana Classico, I got hints of that. I got hints of the 898. I got, for me, cocoa and fruit, and I did get the cocoa and a little bit of coffee for me, and I retrohaled every single draw. That is rare for a New World.
Yeah, the only
It's
thing I was
really
saying
rare.
was
I
it
like
wasn't pronounced.
This is better
like,
than the
wasn't-
Classico.
Yeah, everything that Grinder said, the subtlety of it, I think it's a very elegant, complex cigar
Beautiful,
for
yeah.
$7.
All right, so hold on. I want to propose something. can you give me some Vegas Urbana Classicos and I'll give you 2 boxes of these?
No. What's that cigar go for now?
The Vegas Urbana Classico?
Over $100-something.
No, it's very expensive.
Yeah, it's
It's not
extraordinary.
that. It's not 100. It's probably 60.
I mean, look, when
Yeah, but it's also trying to
I
cure
try,
them.
yeah. So when you have a cigar that's so polarizing like this, I often look for hints of this elite cigars that we've had, and I captured for me a few of those. It happened for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, boys, the formal Lizard rating is a 9.7
Damn, boy.
on a $7.
All right.
Dollar.
Damn, homeboy.
Now I see why Hennessy's a club drink. Look what this did to this group. 10s all around.
You're out of your
So-
mind.
You
All
get a
right.
10. You get a 10.
Okay, so let's
Soft recommend.
Yeah.
let's remind Senator as we rate this a 9.7. Not only did he get chastised for trying to change the rating on the Hennessy VSOP,
Chastised.
he also told me when I told him I had the Oliva V Lancero that if he saw me bring this Lancero into the room,
Uh-oh.
he was going to kill me.
No. Did that happen?
I did not say those words. However,
but-
I already apologize for being frustrated with another Lancero.
You did.
But wait, he gave it a 9.
He gave it a 9.
Very elite score.
Very late.
A 9.7 tonight, boys.
That's incredible.
By the way, 7 and 9 is like the 10 for the rest of us.
do you have Giz,
So
do you
let's-
have ratings up?
I do.
Okay, great. Let's take a
All
look
right,
at that.
That's sadly accurate because I think our composite scores me and maybe Grinder
Me.
or me
I had a
and
9.
Giz. No,
Giz.
we're the lowest.
Yeah.
That's
too.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
me and Gizmo.
So the other one, obviously, we have to talk about tonight, the Oliva V Churchill we did on episode 37, which, by the way, I thought it was like 20 episodes ago.
Mm,
It's like 62 episodes ago.
8.4?
No, 9.
7.3.
No
wow.
way.
Wow.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, that did not perform that well. But as far as New
I thought
World,
I liked it.
That's
as
a-
far as New World Lanceros go, this is definitely the top. I don't even think it's close. The closest that I'm seeing on the ratings guide here is the Davidoff Millennium Lancero, which got a 9.1.
Mm.
But as far as New Worlds go, man, this is it.
This was more flavorful than the Millennium Lancero. It was. You
And
can't
the
deny that.
and the 9.7.
Senator,
And
true.
let-
it's hard to deny
yeah,
the flavor.
no, I can't disagree.
And we
with
have
that.
to
right?
factor
You're right.
in price there.
It's crazy.
It's like a like a fifth of the price.
1/3.
So what was the number for my
$20
father?
bucks?
Less than a third.
Is it $20?
No, it's $30.
It's $30. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like a quarter.
$30.
Yeah.
The
It's a
value-
quarter of the.
20,
yeah.
yeah.
So for the
Oh,
listener, the value proposition here, you have to pursue the cigar.
It's a value proposition.
Absolutely.
That's
So
what it
let's
is.
talk about some of the other Lanceros that we mentioned tonight. I think an important one that we've gone to a couple times is the
Cohiba.
Don Pepin
Ah,
Garcia Blue Lancero, which got a 9. The Cohiba Lancero, I don't know if that's a fair comparison. It's a Lancero, but it's 10 times or 12 times the price. Got a 9.6, so that's actually a tenth of a point lower than this one
because of price.
because of price and performance as well. This one did great tonight. The other one that's important to mention is the My Father number 4,
Yeah.
which got an 8.3.
Okay.
So this wiped.
I
the
think
floor
that
with
could have
as
been
well.
higher, I think.
What was the warped?
The Warped was a Lonsdale. The Maestro del Tiempo 5205 also got a flat 9.0.
Good score.
So, we've done a lot of New World and Cuban Lanceros on the pod, and the Oliva V Lancero tonight at a 9.7.
The cigar's a revelation.
Takes the cake.
It's a revelation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what now I'm really thinking about this, and the My Father number 4 does not.
No,
I
you
think
can't change your rating.
No, I cannot. No, the spread is really wide, and that's a great cigar.
Yeah, it's just a good cigar, but not as good as this.
No, it's definitely not as good as this,
No,
but
no.
it's not 2.5 points away
I do think we indexed heavily on the discount
on the
tonight.
discount,
You know,
maybe
that
the
might-
price.
$7. I mean, it's hard for me not to factor that in.
Yeah, but if that was a $12 cigar, I don't think the ratings would change.
I
Really?
agree.
I
I think
don't
if it
think it
was
would
an
change.
$18 cigar, I don't think it would
Yeah, but
change.
I agree.
out of all the Lanceros or Lanceros, let's say Lanceros, this is the best one we have.
No, we've had
It's the
Absolutely.
I
most
agree.
delicious Lancero.
Absolutely.
It is
And,
delicious.
and I got to say, I think it's important to note for the listeners and for us, I think a lower humidity than what you get at a local B&M,
Yeah.
lower humidity is a little better.
You got to take it down.
Closer to 64, 65, that's what we experienced tonight. I think it's a lot better than closer to 70.
You didn't dry box these at all?
No, I didn't try box them. I
These
just
were
pulled
from
them
the
out of
lounge
my tower.
right here.
Oh, that's right.
But I had them for 6 months in my tower.
Fantastic.
And by the way, when Git says B&M, it's brick and mortar.
That's
like
true.
A regular
That's
store.
All right. So on the Hennessy VSOP tonight, we had an 8.8.
Lizard J.
Lizard J, thank you for the recommendation. And on the Oliva V Lancero, we had a 9.7.
Great.
That's an excellent score.
You
Great.
talk about
Outstanding.
a value night here, boys, on both the cigar and the pairing. You can't beat it.
It was delicious.
And for the listeners who say we don't rate
Budget cigars.
budget cigars, here you go.
Yeah.
Thank you,
There's one for
$7
you.
cigar,
Thank you.
9.7 tonight.
There's one for you.
dude.
You tell him, Rooster.
There's one for you.
You
There's
like
many
that?
actually.
Go
Like-
get him.
There's
Go get
many.
him
You
now.
like that? You like that?
You like that? Yeah.
All right, boys. This is perfectly teeing up next week, episode 100, with the Padron 50 year, the Hammer in Maduro.
That'll be our last episode. By the way. We're done.
Only if we change ratings. Only if we change ratings. But what a fantastic night, boys. A fantastic pairing. Great conversation. And we'll see you all next week for episode 100. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.